Hi, everybody. Welcome to FNS Wrestling Podcast, episode 124. I'm back down in the basement to talk about some more wrestling with my co-host and teenage son, Jack. You here?
I didn't know what number it was. I can't count.
124 is where we're at.
That's how I count, actually. 1, 2, 4.
Pretty impressive.
7, something
right?
like that.
Yeah, and we still have some listeners out there, I think. I told you we got a comment from someone I don't think has commented before, so that was nice. I forget who it was now, saying we did good work and inquiring about my football fandom, because I've mentioned it a few times. So
Gross.
Shout out to that person whose name escapes me right now, but I appreciate any comments. We never throw out our info at the beginning, so let's do it. You want to comment or talk to us or whatever, fnswrestling@gmail.com is our email address. That'll come to me. Love to hear from anyone. We have a little used Instagram account.
Did I forget it exists again? Yes.
Which is FNS_wrestling_podcast. So you could try and get a hold of Jack through
Don't
that.
ask
but
me when the last time I used it was.
Well,
okay.
That's not
wait,
good. If we're trying to grow this
Okay.
podcast, dude, that is no one's going to email me. Nobody emails in 2022.
You email.
I do, but I don't have social media. So you're the one supposed to be in charge of promoting at all. Your mother was doing it on Facebook for us.
We don't got no messages.
Well, good. Because since
last-
you wouldn't have replied, because I always reply.
110, so 14 episodes ago.
If you can email, you'll definitely get a reply from me.
I'll definitely see a message notification, so there's at least
You'll check
that.
sometime, right? At some point. Or honestly, we host this on Podbean, so that's where I get the majority of comments that we do get are through Podbean listeners. So shout out to them and thank you. So another week has passed, and you have written a gigantic test that is mandatory for your graduation from high school.
I didn't forget.
How did that go?
It was easy.
I spoke to some people who said you were done pretty quickly.
Yeah.
As an avid reader and strong writer, I don't imagine it was too challenging for you. Where we live in Ontario, there is a literacy test, the OSSLT, right? Ontario Secondary
that
School
is the one.
Literacy Test that every student must pass as a graduation requirement. There are other options as well if you don't pass, but you have to either pass that test or complete a course that would replace it. So you wrote it this week. You won't know your results for several months probably, but I'm fairly confident you did well. Because what you do it in grade 3, there's a couple OSSLT stuff. Not all literacy, but what were the... Oh, sorry, EQAO.
Yeah.
Different testing, right? That's in elementary.
Yeah, and then there's the
and
math.
That one's math.
There's
and
math
stuff.
on last
right.
year.
Right. So lots of fun for you. And then my high school basketball team I'm coaching had their first game, and you were scorekeeping, and we won by 40 points, basically, right, against our crosstown rival. So that was nice.
Man, did that suck.
Team got 4 technical fouls, which is not ideal, but none of them were for being dirty or cheap. They were all like, someone dunked in warm-ups, can't do that technical foul.
Why is that?
It's just like showing...
They dunk in the game all the time, though.
Right, we did have which in our area is not super common. We had, 4 legit dunks in the game, including a reverse by our new guy, but not allowed. So I guess it's like showing up the other team, or I don't know what the reason is, but one of our players dunked in warm-ups technical. A kid that used to go to our school came out at halftime and apparently tried to dunk, and the ref gave him a technical and threw him out of the gym, which I think was a little bit extreme if you want to know the truth. The refereeing was questionable. Then we got, another player dunked and did a pull-up off the rim. That's obviously a technical foul too. And then the final one was one of their players chased a loose ball out of bounds right in front of our bench, and one of our players stood up and clapped in his face and got a technical foul for that. So
nice.
Probably all deserved,
Sports.
I guess, but at least nothing for being dirty or violent. But anyway, so yeah, that was my week. Your brother has this weekend off from basketball, so we're heading out with sort of a team event for him, but you're coming as well.
Yeah.
Heading out for dinner and then doing like a holiday light show thing that you walk through a nice golf course. We did it last year just for something to do. And then I think we're going to hit them all ahead of time.
Yeah.
So that you can look for wrestling figures and whatnot.
I got one last week, and I will mention here because I don't need to mention it later.
Yeah, what did you pick up?
Because I got that Cody?
Yes, you
They
did.
had the Supreme Cody and Baker. They were the ones with the 2 pants.
Didn't you just get Young Bucks? Sorry,
I got Young Bucks too.
I've been watching lots of Hardy Bucks on
I got
on
Young Bucks too.
YouTube.
Yeah, I found those at Walmart. So I got new Young Bucks, new Cody.
Right. So you had a productive week figure-wise.
Yep.
Because with your job, you have some spending money these days, which is nice for you.
Yeah. I mean, I'll probably save a bit soon because I need to cover part of my Xbox money, but
Xbox Xbox upgrade time, you think?
yeah, well, it's long overdue.
Is it?
It
Is
is.
it stopping you from doing something?
Pretty sure it's overdue since we'll say March. Whenever 2K came out, that's probably when it's overdue. I mean, it will stop me eventually because next year, whenever the Fallen Order sequel comes out, it will be required because
Right. So
nothing's
nothing
stopping me from
requiring
getting
you
the game.
now, but in the near
It's
future.
Pretty much, yeah.
All right. Well, I don't know. I feel like we've got a lot to get through, and we've kind of got a timeline to get out of this house and get our day started. So we should probably work our way towards talking about some wrestling because we're going to do our normal rundown, but we're also going to add a really quick Survivor Series, which, to give you an idea, we loved it so much it took us a week to watch it.
And
Right?
2 nights to watch the main event.
Because we just finished the main event about 20 minutes ago, maybe
Yeah.
half hour ago.
Eh.
So we did get around to it, and we'll talk about that quickly.
I
Then,
didn't not do it.
then we'll hit Dynamite in depth as we always do. Some trivia. We'll go through Highspots and Restholds of anything else we watched. Jack will give us apparently a very large figure update.
Yeah, they kind of just
much revealed.
because there was a thing at Hogan's Beach Shop because I
Yeah.
think for like the drop of that Mega Powers 2-pack, so they just revealed a bunch of stuff there
So we'll get to that in our final
and a
segment.
bunch of Hogan figures.
Nice. As always, I have put timestamps so that you can skip to any segment you would prefer. And with that being said, I think we'll get into talking about wrestling with our first segment, which is always looking at some of the week's wrestling news and rumors. All right, ratings time. This week's NXT, which we were just saying, didn't have scripts on it, so who would watch it? Why would anyone watch it?
A massive ratings drop.
But we had 644,000 viewers watched it, which I don't even have whether it's up or down. I have 3.2%. I'm going to guess up, and I'll look it up later to double check. And earned a 0.13 in the key demographic. That for sure is up 8.3%. So decent numbers again. I've got that threshold of 700,000 in my head for a good show for some reason. It went head to head with NBA basketball as you're going to at this time of year. So solid numbers, I guess we'll say, for NXT. Dynamite numbers, I don't think were so good this week. They averaged 870,000 viewers, which is down only 1.1%. But still, like, I'd like them to be around 1 million in my opinion. But that's, again, I have no idea why I've sort of set these thresholds, but that's the one for them. Earned a 0.26 in the key demographic, down 18.8%. So that's a significant drop week to week. It's the second lowest Wednesday night audience for this for Dynamite since the middle of June this year. So both shows, not super strong numbers this week. But again, we've got NBA basketballs up and running. I don't know if there's any other major competition. And what do you have? I actually have some decent news this week.
Same. I saw AEW sign Juice Robinson.
Which makes you happy?
Yeah, I was good because he had a pretty good one with Moxley.
Yeah, I enjoy him.
It was after like him and Bandito. I think they were considering, right? So
Right.
they have nabbed both.
Signed both of
That's
those
good.
and AR Fox, right?
Right, and he had a vignette or he had like a promo bit on Rampage. So I guess he kind of put out a challenge to Joe, which is weird because
Nice.
Darby Allin also did.
Right.
So
So Joe's got some challengers lined up, which should be good matches.
Yeah.
Again, though, like something's got to give, man. You can't keep signing everybody. People have
Right.
to start leaving at some point, right? So we'll see. I'm happy with the signing. I just don't know.
People gotta start leaving AEW.
No, that could transition into. I won't
Exactly.
segue it into some of my news because it'll be skipping stories. But we will.
Aw.
It'll be. What do we call that? A delayed segue. You just have to wait
That's
for it.
not how segues work.
It does now. So on NXT this week, I didn't put it in as a high spot or a rest hold, so we'll talk about it here. Shawn Michaels announces the competitors for.
I mean, you could put one as a rest hold.
The Iron Survivor Challenge. See, I knew the name only because I wrote it down. Because I struggle remembering that. It's becoming like a little joke.
That's
where
because it's bad.
I can't remember what it is, or maybe subconsciously I don't want to remember.
I wouldn't.
Because I don't like it. But anyways. So for the men's match, they have settled on Carmelo Hayes. It's a heel festival, as you pointed out.
I know. I was like, what the hell is this?
So Carmelo Hayes, who in my opinion should win it. JD McDonough,
in it to win it.
Who's had fantastic matches. Joe Gacy and Grayson Waller. So all 4 heels so far.
And then a wild card, right?
With a wild card, and that'll be determined in an upcoming match. I think maybe.
Oh, what? That's not even fun then.
I think it's multi-person matches next week.
That's not even fun.
I
then.
might double check that, but I believe that's what's happening.
I was hoping it'd be like a genuine surprise, but why have it fun?
So I would assume that has to be a babyface, right? So I don't know.
Does it even matter at this point?
I don't know who's left, but of a babyface you could put in. But anyways, I haven't really thought about it. For the women, a little bit. Actually, is that true? I was gonna say heels.
Perez.
More heels. So Zoe Stark, Cora Jade, both heels. Kiana James, I was a little bit surprised she's in there. I guess they're trying to elevate her a little bit. I'm not convinced she's ready, but we'll see. She's a businesswoman, you know, and
Oh,
she carries like a little briefcase, purse, satchel thing, and wears glasses. So and then
okay.
have you ever? I guess you haven't. Have you ever seen when she makes her entrance and they put her name key up? It's got all of her like degrees and credentials underneath it. It's kind of funny. There's like 7 or 8 of them.
Right,
So
because everyone has to have like a custom nameplate now.
yes, and Roxanne Perez, who is obviously the lone babyface there. Same idea. There'll be a wild card entrance, I assume.
Is it
From
even
a
a
match.
wild card if they're going to
I
determine who it
agree.
is?
It's
Like,
not super wild because it's going to be determined.
oh,
Unless
'cause-
I'm wrong. I think I'm right, but
or is that like an insult to whoever it is? Because you got to earn your way into the
Right.
match.
why don't you hit with the news nugget and I'll see if I'm right about that.
All right. So Tegan Knox returned on SmackDown to assist Liv Morgan's damage control. I guess she's got a lot of history with Dakota Kai.
Yep.
She had like this her hair was like kind of rainbow-esque. It looked really stupid. And I wonder if we're gonna have another random team challenging for the tag titles.
Right.
Liv Morgan, Tegan Knox, anyone?
It could be. It could be.
Just a wild guess.
Go for another one because all of my tabs just closed, so I
Alright.
am now trying to
Lacey
find
Evans is
my
repackaged
stuff.
again. She had a video on SmackDown titled "The Mission Begins," and she was doing like military drills and stuff. So I guess they're going at it again from
Really?
a different angle. So that is
Something.
cool.
Yeah,
I guess.
I guess so. I'm still
Let me go
loading.
again.
So
All right.
keep
So
going.
one of the biggest ones I found was WWE have at least been discussing The Rock returning and possibly winning the Rumble.
Winning
The Rumble.
Well,
which
didn't he say he was never leaving again last time he came back? It was
if
just a long delay between appearances.
if he does return, I feel like that's almost a lock
That he
to-
wins?
to win the Rumble because
Yeah.
they want that match so bad with Roman and like. But then my fear is they don't want Roman to drop the titles until Mania, right? But then
Right.
if they use up that Mania match on Rock, does that mean Rock wins the titles, or does Roman keep them longer and then you have him lose them not at Mania? Like I feel like there's kind of a lose-lose here.
Yeah, and you're right. There's no way they're putting him in the Rumble and having him be eliminated by somebody. Like, no way. I don't think. Unless they've really decided to get somebody over, but I
On the
highly
Rock?
doubt it. Yeah,
No.
I doubt it.
Like, and so I don't. That's why I hate this because I don't know how they go about this without like screwing
Right.
up something.
Right. Yeah, I
like
don't either.
they're kind of just booking themselves into a corner again, which they love to do.
Yeah.
And like, because they don't need the titles for this, and that would be me saying get the titles off of Roman. But I also think he should lose them at Mania because we're this far gone. If in reality he should have lost them, like we'll say at SummerSlam, not to Brock, but like if it was someone else, I don't know. But like now we're this far gone, he has to lose them at Mania, and I don't want it to be The Rock.
Yeah, I
And-
don't.
But then this is also the only time the Rock match would make sense because I guess it's a Hollywood Mania.
And I don't see anyone on the horizon to beat Roman. I guess Cody is the logical
Cody,
choice
Rollins.
there.
That's it.
If you build him properly, I guess, right? So we'll see. I don't know. I don't really want The Rock back. You and I are not big nostalgia people, not looking for people to return. I'm looking for them to focus on new people and build new people.
I hope that they can't do it,
Right.
and then that forces them, because I don't know if they can, they're gonna go balls to the walls on that. But I really hope that like Rock's doing a bunch of shit and they can't have him. I
Right.
would really like because if he's able to return, then that's pretty much a wash for the Rumble. The Rumble gets washed away again. You think the Brock Lesnar this year was bad?
Right.
You ain't seen nothing yet.
Yeah, and he'll probably eliminate like 13 people or
Exactly.
something like that.
And believe me, I hated the Brock this year.
Yes, you did. So my document is back. I'm not going to explain how he's written off TV because that's coming up in my Highspots and Restholds, but former Impact Wrestling World Champion
WWE attempting a resurrection here.
Right, Eric Young is said to be returning to WWE, and Impact definitely wrote him off of TV this week. I'll get there. So it's PW Insider I got this from. They've confirmed with multiple sources that Young will return to WWE soon after finishing up with Impact. And I did have details of how he ended up leaving, but I want to get to that later. So gone from Impact, more than likely coming back to WWE, which is interesting. This guy is super mega veteran at this point, right?
I don't know what he
I don't
would
want to call him
do.
old, exactly. Like I don't know where they're gonna go with him either. Do you think he's coming to NXT maybe as like a veteran to put over young talent? I don't know. Because he's
I
not a
don't even
main
know if I see
eventer,
that.
right? Like I like
No.
Eric Young, but
And barely even in Impact, and like that was a while ago. That was when he first came back to Impact.
yeah. So I don't know what they're gonna do with him, but apparently he's on his way back. Do you want me to take another one since you did a
Sure.
couple? Speaking of people being written off TV and maybe changing companies,
Oh,
lots of talk of William Regal. He was attacked this week, right? We'll get to that as well in our review. So stretchered out, basically, looks like there's lots of speculation that he is set to return to WWE. That he would be working there in a backstage role, which seems a bit of a waste because he's still amazing on camera, right?
I'm really liking him in AEW, so if that's the reason he'd be leaving, that's kind of
I agree.
like,
You want to bring him back and put him back as the commissioner of something? Sure. Like NXT.
or honestly, main roster,
General
because I think
manager,
NXT
whatever.
is a waste of time.
Yeah. So hoping he doesn't leave because obviously we watch AEW all the time and don't really watch main roster. So selfishly, I'd like to see him stay, but looks like he might be on his way out.
Yeah.
Anything from you?
So another Royal Rumble thing is Kofi Kingston is the first to declare for the Rumble, so
I declare.
I do declare.
I do declare.
So yeah, he's in the Rumble. Cool.
Yeah, I mean,
Rumble.
now they have to start thinking up a unique spot for him to have that he hopefully doesn't botch, right? So, I mean, mostly they come through for it.
Yeah.
I have a Royal Rumble one as well. WrestlingNews.co is being told that Raquel Rodriguez is the person who will challenge Ronda Rousey for the SmackDown Women's Championship at the Royal Rumble. Rousey's scheduled at this point, it says, to go into WrestleMania as the champion, which would obviously suggest she would retain the belt at the Royal
Baszler.
Rumble. So, like, I don't know if you can answer this question. Does anybody care about Ronda Rousey as champion? Like, do you see
Not
any...
like they did the first time.
Right. Does she... And honestly, I think she's just further removed from her mainstream appeal, right? As an MMA fighter and the face of UFC and all of this stuff.
that is far. Like, I don't think that even is part of the equation
And then
anymore.
she's not compelling enough as a professional wrestler.
No, she's just kind of at this weird middle ground.
So I'm finding I have zero interest in her or her title run. So
I'm
I don't
not.
know if that's just me or that's a general thing, but
Have I said Shayna Baszler's better, or have I said
way
Shayna
better.
Baszler's better?
way better. I agree. And that's, I think, initially that was the difference. Shayna Baszler doesn't have any mainstream appeal. So fine, you're trying to get something accomplished with Rousey. Now I would suggest her mainstream appeal is kind of either not as big or people are just don't
It's farly
care.
diminished.
Like you've already cashed in on that, I guess is what I'm trying to say, right? So that's not there anymore. So I think it's just kind of spinning your tires at this point.
Yeah, I think Rousey should turn face, I guess. Like, I mean, not that anyone cares.
No,
but
she should
still,
just lose the belt and go away.
Just so that Baszler can turn heel on her. I mean, like, Baszler should just turn heel on her. Rousey can be a crummy face for a bit. Baszler takes the title of Mania. I finally get to be right. And they can rectify the mistake they made 3 years ago.
Right.
And then Rousey can get the hell out.
Baszler's just wasting her career away. Again, one of the top people I would choose to
like
pluck from WWE and put in AEW. Just based on
because their women's division's doing great.
But that's what I like. Also, sort of baked into that is the idea that they start to improve their women's division,
Right.
And you bring her in as an outside force.
I don't know why
she-
Baszler's not doing great. Like Triple H knows how she is.
Bring
Like,
her in,
Triple
Brock
H should
Lesnar
know.
her in AEW, have her just kill everyone, big title reign, elevate the division. Boom, done. There you go, AEW.
Triple H should
Go get Baszler.
like know what he's doing with her.
I
So
agree.
like I don't know what's happening.
I don't either. I have two more, so
Okay.
I don't know. Is it your turn?
I
or
have a
mine?
couple more.
Go
I
ahead.
thought, wait, no, yeah.
Because we were Rouseying.
You
That
just
was
went.
me.
Okay. So I told you Acclaimed versus FTR for the titles is set for next week. Not even
Yes.
Winter's coming, just like the Dynamite before. So I guess the go home for the Winter's coming,
Yeah.
which is weird.
Do you think there's a chance of like a no
That's-
finish and
That's
then
almost my instinct,
Yeah,
but
me
then
too.
again, they
if
don't.
it were
they don't
WWE,
do that.
100%. Right.
But
Right.
like that's why that's kind of my instinct. But like it surprised me. So I don't know. Maybe FTR take it here. Like I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know where you go either.
Because I don't think the Acclaimed should win. I don't think there's any reality where that should be the case. As much as I love the Acclaimed, I think FTR is their stopping point.
I feel the Acclaimed are more over right now, but it seems like they're getting more exposure too. So FTR is kind of in the background, which I don't really love because they were like,
Yeah, I don't know. FTR is still really over, and like honest, they're the
They
team
are.
that should be. I think if you build a division around them, it can flourish again. I think the Acclaimed are good, but they're not really like.
I would agree.
I
Not
don't
at
think
that
they're ever going to
level.
be a cornerstone.
Right.
Right. So
Yes.
it's like you want to talk about pillars of AEW. I think in the tag division, that's going to be FTR, Bucks, Lucha Bros.
Yep.
You know, so and then also Samoa Joe, Darby Allin for the TNT title, so that's cool.
Yes.
I guess you gotta make that show worthwhile because that's a gap week for the trio series.
Joe Allen could be really fun. Just
Yeah,
Joe likes to beat people up, and Darby's really good at
Mhm.
getting beat up,
yeah,
right? So
that'll be great. So
that could
because
be fun.
the next trios matches winner's coming, which is not next week, but it'll be the week
Still
after.
not tired of those either. Let me
No.
tell you, just do that all the
Yeah,
time.
so I'm sad we have a gap week.
May or may not have enjoyed every one of those trios matches more than every match on Survivor Series. Would you say that's fair?
That may or may not be the case.
I think that is the
I
case.
refuse to confirm.
Right. We'll confirm that later. Well, speaking with the Getting Over podcast, never heard of it. Can't be as good as ours. Just listen to ours instead. Okay.
Yeah, we'll talk about them for you.
Right. We'll summarize their podcast on our podcast. Dakota Kai revealed what she says is the initial pitch for Damage Control, saying that Bailey wanted different people originally in the lineup, but that was years ago. So do you care to guess? NXT people from years ago. One now currently on Raw, one gone.
I have no idea.
With speculation of her returning. Candice LeRae and Tegan Nox initially.
Tegan Nox did return.
I know. So, sorry, she is back. And then there was also a more recent pitch that would have been Io Sky, but not Dakota Kai. Would have been Alba Fire instead. And one extra person, Raquel Rodriguez.
So basically, Dakota Kai is like the nope.
Yeah, and they'll replace you with Fire and bring in Rodriguez as like a powerhouse. Interesting.
I honestly forgot LeRae's on me.
Would you have preferred either of those configurations?
Eh.
I'd like to get Fire out of NXT. She deserves to be
but she's good
main
on her
roster.
own.
They're just
I don't know. I like Kai and Io together though.
Yeah, they're good as well. So, I have one more. What about you?
I think I got one more. It's just that Kevin Owens is still apparently injured despite his War Games return, and then he actually had a match on Raw the night after. So I don't know how bad it is, I guess, but like he's still
tough Canadian boy, you know, getting his work done. And finally, for me, while speaking with Fightful Sean Ross Sapp, Dax Harwood said that he's under the belief that his current contract ends in April of 2023. I find that a really weird phrasing. He is under the belief. Would he not know what his contract is?
Do they not remember?
Would it not be
Also, is that
ambiguous?
implying he's gonna be out?
And so he said he's evaluating his options and that he and Cash have had a lot of conversations about their future. One particular idea they've talked about is basically taking a year off from wrestling from any major company and just doing like smaller indie things that are fun to them. Because
That's lame.
he says that they've had the opportunity to do that lately and that they really, really enjoy it. So like take a year to just work wherever you want to work before signing somewhere. I'd be okay with that as someone who watches a lot of random indie stuff. So
no.
So that is the end of my news and yours as well.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so let's move into talking about a detailed review of this week's episode of
Survivor Series.
Oh, right. Thank you for cutting me off there.
You're
Normally it annoys me, but this was productive. We are going to quickly take a look at last Saturday's WWE Survivor Series. All right, Survivor Series 2022. It had 5 matches.
Survivor Series War Games.
Right, to be fair. It had 5 matches, right? So shouldn't take too long to get through because I didn't really take notes. It's not going to be detailed or lengthy because it doesn't really deserve it. But just sort of before we even start, we talked about it. And I know we're going to sound like just major AEW fans at this point, but we like what we like. I'm not trying to dislike WWE or trying to love AEW stuff. It's just how we feel. And I think I can confirm I liked 4 matches and almost 5 off of Full Gear better than anything on Survivor Series, right?
Agreed.
The opening cage match, the Trios Championship match, the main event, the Ring of Honor title 4-way. And then almost, I was saying Hater.
Because they're like
Storm.
all the near falls at the end.
I
right?
really
like
enjoyed, right? So
a lot more gripping.
I don't know if it's just, I said to you.
I definitely think it's the style.
For me, it could be that I'm not up on the storylines in WWE, not
I
watching.
try to keep up on them, like, despite not watch, because I don't remember the last time we actually watched the weekly television, right?
But I think it does come down to just the style. WWE still feels like sports entertainment to a certain degree.
It doesn't feel enough like pro wrestling.
Right, which is not my favorite. So again,
Exactly.
like what you like, and we want to like things when we watch them. I'm not watching WWE
It
hoping
has
to
at least
dislike
improved, but the in-ring
Right.
style still isn't really there for me.
Right.
Because like even NXT, like it is sports entertainment, but that felt enough like pro wrestling to be like, I like this.
Yes. So the first match on Survivor Series this year is the women's War Games match, and that is putting Damage Control against who on the babyface side? We've got Bianca Belair, Becky Lynch, Asuka, Alexa Bliss, and Mia Yim.
Michin.
I knew. I paused just for you to say that. Taking on Bayley, Dakota Kai, Io Sky, Nikki Cross, and Rhea Ripley. So Belair and Dakota Kai start the match for their teams. So the heels in this one being Damage Control, they have the advantage. So after the first 5-minute period is up, Io Sky is joined
Which
by...
makes more sense for the heels to have the advantage.
It does.
But I digress.
Is joined by Dakota Kai so that they can sort of double team Belair for a little bit. Then it is Nikki Cross.
But they messed up that thing, remember?
Yes. What thing?
EO.
I'm gonna get to that. Yes.
Wasn't that there or no?
I'm just gonna summarize it, then go to things that I noticed. Is the format I'm doing today? You'll see. It's fine. Nikki Cross is next, so she brings in a bunch of weapons from under the ring. Bayley comes in next. She brings ladders and a table. So then that leaves the final entrants are Rhea Ripley and Becky Lynch, and then the match officially starts right once they're in the ring. I guess once Becky's in the ring.
That now that you mentioned, both matches are kind of framed around like the big final entrant. That's probably what like you have Becky and then you had Roman,
which was one of my favorite parts of the men's one when we get there. Less so for Becky, but Roman's just so damn cool.
Yeah, it's just a little weird when the baby faces are or the heels are fighting from underneath there.
Yes.
Like that's just the only thing there. But other than that, like I agree with the Roman thing. We'll talk about that. But I agree.
So mayhem once everybody's in there.
Remember Becky Lynch's gear was so bad. She had like that weird thing on her shoulder, and then the rest of it looked like she was wearing like joggers and stuff. Like it was so
bad. It was strange. Lots of weapons, some big spots, and some just, I guess, callbacks to previous storylines and things. As we were saying here, some of the things did not go as planned, right? Like, there was one where Belair hit, I think it was a backbreaker, and Dakota Kai landed like almost on her head. Looked awkward, and then Io Sky was gonna do something in the corner to Belair.
They kept like I don't. It was just weird.
So it's like she botched whatever it was.
Because she usually does like the knees and then she like goes up and then comes back down. But then like Kai tried to like jam a move in there as well.
Yeah,
and then
so she paused.
It set.
That's right.
Io off base, and then she went for it again, and then kind of toppled over.
Just fell off the top.
And I don't, which was weird because I understand like kind of screwing off the first one because like. Kai kind of came in there, but then when she kind of fell off, I was like, "What's happening here?"
It was really weird.
Unusually sloppy for Io.
She also had a Hurricane Rana to Belair that like barely got it too.
That's right.
So there was some. She did then hit a cool like she did a springboard from one ring top rope to the other ring's top ropes, and then it was
that was cool.
Kick. That looked cool.
I like when they do stuff like that.
And they seem to be teasing throughout the match Io Sky and Asuka matching up at some point.
That would be really cool.
I
think they like teased that. Like I feel like they also did that in the Survivor Series when when NXT invaded. I feel like they also did that, but I don't know if they ever actually.
That would be a cool feud.
Or actually, I might be wrong. I think it was either that or because I remember Kyrie was also in the match, so they might have been doing something with Io and Kyrie because remember they were best buddies back when Io was a face and before Kyrie left.
That's right.
Wow. That was a while ago.
Nikki Cross hit a dive off the top of the cage onto like everybody basically.
Shouldn't she be Nikki FSH, formerly a superhero?
I guess so.
Or
formerly almost a superhero.
So Nikki Fash.
Right. She also broke up like a Tower of Doom spot, right? That looked like it was gonna happen. The finish came when Becky Lynch went to the top of the cage and hit I guess a leg drop. It almost looked like she just kind of sat on them.
It was like, it was kind of like a leg drop to two people. So I don't know. It was kind of like, it definitely looked, I guess it was like
Who
nice.
was it? Kai and...
I think it was Kai and Sky.
Right. It's through a table off the top of the cage. Pretty cool looking spot regardless. I thought this match was okay. I don't know. There were a lot of sort of clunky moments in there. I honestly thought...
Yeah, it was like really, it felt disjointed at some times. And there's just like a lot of... It was so like not fluid.
I agree. And honestly, I thought Rhea Ripley looked awesome.
She comes out of it the best. I think
so much bigger.
Apparently,
and
they're
stronger.
going to be pushing her, which I think makes sense. I think that's smart.
She just looks big and strong and mean, right? She just is a force.
Definitely upped her presentation.
I agree.
I think they've done that well. That's one thing they've been doing. I think Judgment Day has become like something decent. Like,
I
I mean, I
agree.
still think there's room to improve.
Yes.
But
It used to be kind of lame, and now
oh,
it's
I
like
hated
kind of
it.
cool.
It was really lame.
And
But like,
she's cool. So I came away from this thinking she kind of looked like a star. And like I know this is a bit of a cop
best
out, but
challenger Belair could have at
they
this point.
yes, I
I
agree.
don't even think Becky's that interesting at this point. I
They,
think she's feuding with Bailey now.
and it's one of those everybody worked really hard in this, but some of the stuff just didn't work. And I thought it was okay. I guess you know what I mean.
It was
If I'm
fine.
giving it a star rating, it's
Not
like
a
3
good War
stars.
Games though. Like I've
I agree.
liked some far more.
All of the NXT ones more than this.
Other than
probably.
2.0 maybe.
Yeah.
Even the 2.0 ones. Like I didn't love them, but I think they were better than this at least.
Yeah. The second match of the night, we get AJ Styles taking on Finn Balor
Speak of the Judgment Day.
in a battle of like Bullet Club former leaders, I guess.
I hate the thing that they were best friends because they
Yeah.
literally were never in Bullet Club together.
Right.
And also, it seems like they're putting Mia Yim as Michin as as one of the OC members, and it's like, okay, so the whole thing with OC was like they're the original club, they're the only club, they're whatever. Mia Yim has
She's
had
original, buddy.
zero
Right.
affiliation with Bullet Club or any formation of the club ever.
And so not original.
It's literally the opposite.
Yes.
So like that's like saying like when WWE brought in the NWO, bringing in Shawn Michaels as like an OG NWO, like he was never, you know what I mean? Like it's
Yeah.
that, but like at least they didn't, you know, if it was just the club, then
Sure.
fine. But because it's still the OC, I remember what that's supposed to mean. And if you, I mean, technically OC would be Balor and them, but like if you want to go that, fine. Styles and them, sure. That
So
makes
it's not
sense.
original in many ways.
It's not original in multiple ways, and the whole notion that Balor and AJ are supposed to be friends because of that, like that just annoys me because obviously like that's the kind of inconsistency they would overlook, but still like they were never in the club together. AJ was literally Balor's replacement the same night Balor was ousted from New Japan.
It's like Vince McMahon. They expect you not to remember things, right?
Right,
They're
I
just
guess,
like,
like-
our fans are stupid. They won't remember.
To be fair,
past
it
a
is
month.
from New Japan, but like
Yeah.
as someone who knows,
Yes.
it's stupid.
Right. So this match, we had AJ Styles is in control early.
Oh yeah, he was wearing like a black and gray gear because it was like the OC logos and whatnot, but it was all gray.
and they
Like
both
talk about a boring look.
They both had entrance masks, right?
Yeah, Balor was just wearing like a black. Balor needs to stop wearing entrance masks. This was worse than like the spiked one he wore at like whatever, like Extreme Rules or whatever. Yeah, it was Extreme Rules. It's so bad. Like it looks so stupid. And then AJ Styles was wearing like a mask he would sometimes wear in Japan, which
Like a
looked
gas mask.
looked like a
looking thing.
less dumb version of Scripps.
Yeah.
And like that looked kind of dumb, but I'll forgive it because there's at least kind of a reason for that. Like
Yeah.
he used to do that, whatever, that's fine. But Balor looks like an idiot. And also, this reminds me, it's a good time to mention, they had a big giant screen again, which I
Yes,
was
they did.
totally rooting for, and I definitely didn't want something different because it's just the big fat screen. I'm pretty sure Balor's Tron was just a purple flames, which is really lame. And then he still has like, they do like the white light every now and then for like
Yeah.
but he doesn't do it anymore.
No.
So I don't know. I don't like his theme now. I mean, I like it for the heel, but I don't like that they changed it because I liked his theme.
So back and forth match, counters and whatever from both of these guys, really talented dudes. And then about 10 minutes in, probably, we get the inevitable brawl at ringside, right, between the OC and Judgment Day. So they're like brawling through the crowd and are gone, I think, right? So it
Yes.
leaves Balor and Styles all alone.
Oh, is a match without Doc Gallows even worth it?
So you get the calf crusher, doesn't get the submission, but he does. AJ ends up winning with the phenomenal forearm eventually. And I don't know, other notable things. There was a nice suplex into the corner by AJ Styles. He hit his 450 that always looks awesome. And Styles, there were some chops laid in, so his chest wasn't quite Chris Jericho bleeding, but it was definitely very red by the end of this. I don't know. This match was good, I guess. It didn't blow me away. It's a pay-per-view match, one of your big 4 pay-per-views,
It
a
was
singles match.
fine, and
Yeah.
but like considering who was involved, I think it disappointed me a lot because it's just kind of boring.
It should be, and again, maybe because I'm not up on storylines, but it doesn't sound like there was a lot going into this, right? So
Not even storyline aside, these guys should just have a good match.
absolutely.
And I don't think that was there.
So like good-ish, but nothing that I loved or anything.
Yeah.
I want to be able to be like, yep, they killed it. You should go
Mhm.
watch it. Definitely not the case. Definitely not the case in the next match either. At the low point of the show for I think us and probably most people, I would assume, and that is the SmackDown Women's Championship match with Ronda Rousey defending against Shotzi. We talked about I just don't have interest in Ronda Rousey. I don't find her a compelling character. I don't find her very good in the ring. So anyways, Baszler is with her when they head down for this. And I don't know, is there anything interesting here? You just have Rousey looking dominant.
Oh, that
Shotzi's
match.
the
No,
underdog.
nothing interesting.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of anything.
No, there's nothing there.
They're fighting into the crowd a little bit, right? And there were a bunch of clearly planted fans because Shotzi like dove off of the barricade, right, onto a bunch of them.
Something like that. Honestly, I don't even remember.
And then, so Rousey ended up picking the win in this one. Obviously, I don't think anybody thought that she was going to. There was a belly to suplex counter from a dive from Rousey, and there was supposed to be, remember that? The DDT spot on the apron. But Ronda Rousey,
right, but it looked like horrible.
It was almost like Rousey was holding on to the rope still, and it like there was almost no impact.
Unlike
on it.
Remember Ishii took one and it looked sick.
It looked amazing. So it was just like Shotzi's not really good, right? And Ronda Rousey's
she's still so bad.
And Ronda Rousey's not good enough to carry somebody who's not good to a good match.
She could have a good match with like if she was facing Becky again.
Right.
Yeah, but like.
So I really did not enjoy this. I didn't think I would coming in, so it didn't under-deliver or anything.
No.
It delivered, but it delivered a mediocre at best.
It didn't
probably less
under-deliver, but it delivered what I expected, which isn't a compliment.
Right. Then we get, I think we both said at the time it was our favorite match of the night, right? The triple threat with Seth Rollins, Bobby Lashley.
Seth Rollins' gear was on point.
And Austin Theory.
It was pretty sweet.
So, this one was, let's see what we've got here. Not a lot of Austin Theory, right? It was a lot of the other two sort of working, which I think was the storyline. It's kind of cool because it fit in.
Theory's kind of the forgotten.
And it fit in with the finish, right? Which had...
Yeah, Rollins had like Theory up in a suplex or whatever, something. Yeah. And Lashley speared him and Theory kind of...
fell on top of him.
Well, he kind of rolled over, which is either lazy or like that's how it was intended, and then in which case it would be smart.
Yep, Rollins did his dive to the outside. He did a flip over the top. And then we had a frog splash to break up a pinfall that he looked good.
Like when he comes in over, like when they camera angle it, right? So that it looks like it comes in. I love
out of
that.
Nowhere. When they
I remember they did that in the Shield triple threat, and it was like, it's the coolest thing.
And he had a cool, remember he did a stomp to Lashley jumping off of Theory's back?
That was cool.
That looked pretty cool. So yeah, like I thought this was a fun triple threat. I kind of liked the story of Theory not really deserving to win, but sneaking out a win right after not...
Well, now he's kind of become more serious, right? So like he's kind of changed his presentation this time.
So I enjoyed this match. I thought this was good. Like I wouldn't say you have to rush out and watch it, but I thought this was the most enjoyable match to this point. I don't know if that's a common thought or not. Doesn't really matter. But that was initially when this match ended, we were like, wow, I like that. That was the best match on the show so far. And that should not be when there's a War Games match opening, right?
Worst match on the show. Rollins didn't win. Hate it.
Right.
Bad.
So I kind of thought that this was just a good match, and the little story of Theory not being a dominant performer but sneaking out a win was kind of
I don't think the execution on the finish was perfect, but I liked the idea that was there.
Same.
And yeah, I think Rollins' ring gear was really cool, so that was really nice.
Right.
Yeah. So they should make a figure on that. And then hopefully he can move up now. Don't think so.
No.
Because honestly, I partially given up hope. But like, if he's in the Rumble, then I will at least put him as my third pick.
Nice. Men's War Game match is the main event, and we just finished watching that, so it's fresh in my mind. And that is the Bloodline.
Half of it's fresh in your mind.
The Usos, Solo Sikoa, Roman Reigns, and Sami Zayn taking on the Brawlin' Brutes, right? Of Owens, McIntyre, Sheamus, Butch, and Ridge Holland.
Pete Dunne.
So Butch and Jey Uso, don't do that every time, man.
I'm going to do it every time.
They start out, and so they take a while to get started, and I thought maybe they were just going to stand there, and that would have been kind of funny, but that would only work if the heels were getting the advantage. Oh, they are getting the advantage here, right?
No.
Oh, no, they're not. So that would have made more sense. But anyways, they do start actually wrestling, and I really liked that Butch was... Go ahead.
Pete Dunne
was working the hand and fingers. I thought it looked really good. At one point, he had the fingers...
They were already taped, right?
And he had them like stretched out in the cage and kicking them and just doing his finger work, which I thought actually looked pretty good. Then we get... you sort of get Reigns stopping Jimmy Uso from being the next entrant and letting Sami Zayn go next.
We forgot to mention there's a couple of segments where, like, because they heard Zayn talking to Owens on SmackDown, so there was a couple of backstage
They
things
were
where,
really
like,
good, I thought.
I really liked them, yeah. And Jay was like kind of consulting Roman on that, and then later on they bring Sami in. So this is kind of like the commentary, of course, even talking that up
Yes.
a million times. But like this kind of like Reigns is like testing Sami, so he's like
Right.
sending him in there to kind of like even the odds with the Uso that doesn't like him. The
Right.
only member, because even Sikoa, like, well, Sikoa doesn't seem to like be kind of Uso with anyone,
But
so
he's
to
like,
speak. But
yeah,
like
indifferent at least.
he's not like he's indifferent, right? So he's like he's sending Zayn into not only like even the odds against two kind of fresh-ish baby faces, but then also he's got to help the Uso that doesn't like him.
Right.
So it works nicely.
And one of my favorite things of this match was when they would cut to Reigns like waiting
And
in
he's
the cage.
literally he's sitting on a chair,
there, not even really looking. And
he
just,
literally brought him in like a steel chair, so he's just sitting in the cage.
His presence now is so strong, which I was saying,
Yes.
like back when WWE were ramming him down our throats as a babyface, I never thought we'd get to the point where he is a super mega star.
That may be the last
doubt.
great thing Vince did.
Yep.
And even then, there were times where it was just kind of boring, but they definitely recovered it.
Because he is super cool right now. So
he definitely owes Sami Zayn a bit though, because like Zayn's definitely brought it back to interesting status.
Right. So it is Zayn going in next, and he sort of takes his time getting in there, and then Jimmy gets tables in the cage at one point, right?
Right.
Reigns, as we expected, just sort of jumping ahead, is the last one to enter the cage.
Right, kind of like building up to that, which they kind of did with Becky, right?
And then they had a massive, just sort of all four men standing, one group in each ring, sort of staring at each other, standoff. And I think it was the baby faces end up invading the heel ring, and they start brawling, obviously. Along the way, Jay hit Sami Zayn with a super kick by accident.
But then it was kind of cool because obviously he still doesn't like Zayn, so it was like they do the thing where he accidentally kicks him, but then he's like, nah, whatever.
Yeah.
I don't like you.
Okay. Oh,
yeah.
well.
So I thought that was kind of cool.
And then at some point, Zayn pulled Jay away from taking a move, right? Saved him from getting hit with something. Yes. Just kind of, there were little glimpses of Sami showing his loyalty to the bloodline along, because the idea is, right?
He's trying to prove it to...
Kevin Owens is his real life best friend, right? So how's the dynamic going to be once Owen gets in and, this is the bloodline is his new family.
And you could see even like when Owens came in, like it was before Reigns was in, but like when Owens came in, I noticed that was interesting because he was going hammy on the Usos, but like you notice he never hit Sami Zayn.
Right.
I don't even think they really came into contact until
they kept it
to the
end,
right? So I thought that was actually kind of an interesting touch. I think that was probably like one of the best parts of this.
I agree, and this match seemed to be more about storytelling, and the women's was more about spots, which a lot of them didn't work out super well.
And so even this one, like, it's still that sports entertainment style that you were talking about, but I feel like at least like it wasn't as boring.
No.
Still, there is a bit of a disconnect for me, but at least it was more there, in my opinion.
And the storytelling, especially the finish, I really enjoyed in this.
That definitely bumps it up a bit because they were telling a really nice story in here.
So why don't you summarize the finish then?
Right. So there was the one part where Owens and Reigns had an exchange. He hit like a pop-up powerbomb and a stunner to Reigns, and so he pinned him. And then at 2.5, Zayn kind of grabs the referee's arm and stops him, and he's kind of like looking at Owens.
Right.
Then I think Jimmy goes for a super kick at one point on Owens, and he catches it, but then Zayn takes the opportunity to hit a low blow.
Right.
And he's kind of conflicted, but then he doubles down, hanging with a haluva kick, and he throws him down for Jay to hit an Uso splash.
Had to be Jay.
Right, and then Jay gets the win, and then after that, like Jay's kind of like him and Zayn are hugging it out. Our bloodline's all good, and Reigns is whatever, and stuff.
It just, I really enjoyed.
It was really well done.
The final few minutes of this, right? It's just a compelling story. Sami Zayn's amazing. I honestly think all of the Bloodline guys are doing a fantastic job. Even Solo Sikoa, who's just your like silent, cold enforcer, works.
And you can see
too, right?
like the Umaga influence definitely in when he was wrestling, and like the spinning
he
solo.
Sent someone through a table, right? With the
spinning solo.
Yeah, was that Owens he put through the table?
I think it was either Owens or I want to say it was McIntyre. Actually.
It looked good, anyways.
I think it was McIntyre.
So I enjoyed this match. I don't think it was amazing War Games match, but just the storylines in it with Sami and the Bloodline, Sami and Kevin Owens. The Brawling Brutes are fine. They're kind of interchangeable with any group that you wanted to sort of, because that wasn't really what this was about.
Yeah, it wasn't my favorite because they did all the synchronized.
They did
beats the pattern, like which I'm like, if you want to complain about Blackpool, there
was some choreography going on.
Yeah,
that was a bit annoying.
And like that's the stuff that annoys me about Butch, because that's just like so not Pete Dunne.
I feel like McIntyre didn't really shine here.
No, he
Any of
just
the
felt
baby
he just
faces
felt like a
shined.
guy there, other than maybe Owens, I guess.
I guess it's just the Bloodline are so interesting that it's in comparison, right? They look kind of, I don't know. The Bloodline are just firing on all cylinders now, I think. So
Agreed.
I like this match, and the finish definitely, final couple minutes or whatever.
Very interesting.
The Owens flurry with his two finishers, and then Sammy getting involved, and the low blow, and all of that was really, really compelling TV for me. So I like this match. Probably my favorite match on the show, I guess, followed by the triple threat, just because of the story of
I think
this
so,
one.
yeah.
I really liked. So overall, I didn't think it was a super impressive pay-per-view. Like, we didn't really plan this, but if I were going to throw a letter grade on it, I guess a C+. Like, nothing was bad.
It wasn't as bad as Survivor Series last year, because remember,
True,
we hated that.
Hated that.
So it was so boring.
Right. So
this is a lot better.
yeah, but it still wasn't amazing, right? Like, there's nothing I would say, go out and watch the main event, but you could really just skip to the last 5 minutes if you want to.
Right, yeah.
In my opinion, right? But so an okay pay-per-view. The women's championship match was bad. I thought everything else was like decent to good. So a decent offering from them.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so that's our quick Survivor Series review. Now we'll move into actually talking about our in-depth review of this week's episode of AEW Dynamite. All right, you got your document open? Tell me about Dynamite this week. Talk to me.
Did we start?
Yeah, we started.
Cool.
The recording is recording.
So we open the show with Jonathan Moxley speaking. So he says he grew up about 90 miles from Indianapolis, which is where they are.
Sure.
And he used to wrestle there, and that was a long time ago, and it's been a crazy ride where you never know what's around the corner. There are 3 certainties, those being death, taxes, and John Moxley. He says there's nobody who can out-wrestle, out-fight, out-bleed, out-sweat him, etc. And the AEW, he did not say etc. And the AEW ring belongs to him, and says there isn't a man in the locker room or anywhere that has the balls to tell him any different. And Hangman's music hits, so Hangman's back. So
yeah, that was great.
Yeah, I was pretty happy about that.
Me too.
Think he'd be back because I heard nothing about it. But
yeah, I was surprised as well. Pleasantly surprised.
And they said he's not been cleared yet. So he goes face to face with Mox. Mox asks if he's sure he wants to do this after what happened last time.
Right.
And
the crowd.
And then he's like, "Sorry, he might not remember that," which was pretty funny.
Yeah.
And then Hangman attacks him he goes pretty hard on it, and then they have to keep getting pulled apart. Like they keep trying to it was pretty aggressive.
I really liked this because I thought, okay, it's a segment. It's going to be Mox talking for a really long time. He doesn't. He basically just challenges anyone. And again, surprised that Hangman comes back. They do have that existing story where Moxley knocked him out, right? Concussed him and sent him out for a while. So I was kind of thinking Moxley was going to be gone because he's been delaying taking that vacation or holiday, whatever he's been.
Is he even going to do that anymore?
But I think this is really smart because these guys don't need a championship at stake for me to be really interested, especially
now that's what's happened.
With, that sort of Hangman getting knocked out, as they say, right? So I think this is a pretty smart idea here. They're presenting him as a badass without saying a word here.
It's a little bit of a detour for Mox to be so pissed at Regal and want that title back, and now he's gonna pivot. But I'm not really complaining too much.
Right. It is a bit. You would think he'd be focused on MJF, but if they want to go a different direction, this is a smart little detour, I think, for Moxley to be taking. So I thought this was minimal talking, and I'm not usually a fan of pull aparts because it is a pretty stiff, but this one felt a little bit more legitimate than usual because Hangman would have an issue with this guy right now, right? And doesn't care if he's the champion or not. He wants his revenge, and Moxley's the type of guy that's not going to back down from a challenge. So I thought all of this made sense. Now, I'm not sure I needed this to be my opening segment on the show, but I enjoyed it still. You?
Yeah, I thought this was a pretty solid way to start the show. I thought the Mox promo was pretty generic, but I thought it was still delivered well. It was pretty solid. Then I'm glad it set up Hangman coming back, and it was pretty cool. Like you said, you didn't say anything. He just went after him. He went pretty hard, and that was that caught me off guard. But of course, all in for like a full match between them. Hopefully,
Yes.
goes better. Given how the last one ended, I thought Mox's reply was amusing when Hangman came out.
You might not remember. That was good stuff. Yeah.
I wonder how much he actually does remember.
Right. I don't know.
I guess. Well, I mean, it's not like it continued after, so
I've
I
never
don't know.
been knocked out, so I can say I don't know.
That's true.
Thankfully.
Yeah, so that was pretty good. I don't know if I would open either, but I mean, I guess it's a hot way to start the show.
Yep. I enjoyed it.
And then I remember they had like the bit later, which I'll talk about, but that kind of reminded me of what was it, the Punk Moxley thing, I think, when they kept like during the show, they would keep like,
Oh, yeah.
I think that's what it was, Moxley and someone, right? It
I
was
think
Punk,
so, yeah.
right? I
I
think.
believe that's correct.
I think.
I trust you.
I don't know. I try
More
to
than I trust my
to
memory.
suppress those memories, you know.
Yes.
So we get our opening match, which is Bryan Danielson versus Dax Harwood.
And I'm super excited. For me, this is two of the best wrestlers this year, right? Like if you want to talk about my list of top performers, both of these guys are on it. So I'm pretty excited for this one,
Honestly,
obviously.
Pun intended, honorable mention would be Sami Zayn.
Yeah, 100%. Character work wise, he's like crushing it every week.
I think I'll just put him as an honorable mention.
He has some of the most interesting segments because I actually do keep up with a lot of the bloodline. Like his acting is fantastic. He's amazing.
Mhm.
Canadian boy. Anyway, sorry. This
Mhm.
match.
Yeah, so some of the notables, there's a suicide dive by Danielson, sends Dax over the barricade. When we come back from a commercial break, Dax is hitting the consecutive Germans. That sounds weird. Like he's just, there's like a line of German,
people, and he's
just
taking them out
smacking them
one by one.
consecutively.
They attack him one by one.
There's a power driver by Dax for 2. Later on, he goes for avalanche brainbuster. Danielson slips out, shoves him, crotching him on the corner. It says crocheting, but I don't.
Crocheting him in the corner.
Yeah.
Got out the needles in the yarn and
Yeah.
built a trap in the corner.
Yeah. A
Did you know
contraption.
Did you know your grandmother, my mother, used to crochet? And why is that fascinating? Do you know what crocheting entails?
Wouldn't you need 2 hands for that?
Correct. Because my mother, your grandmother, literally only has one hand, but she somehow crocheted. I don't either. I don't remember how she did it, but she did. But anyways, carry on.
It's not even like, because I remember you said she played tennis, where that
She plays
that
tennis?
makes sense.
Rep, good tennis player.
Right, because you could totally do that.
Yes.
Like, because once you serve, you're literally like, you
But
don't need
crocheting, it's a mystery.
I don't
she
get
did it. Yep.
All right.
You just find a way, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I guess you'd have to.
Sorry, that was behind the curtain on our family there a little bit, but that's okay.
And then Danielson rings on the hammer and elbows up top, and then goes for an avalanche back suplex. Dax counters midair into a crossbody.
Yes.
So then Danielson counters back to pin him for 2. There's a lengthy strike exchange, just a lot of like clotheslines, then just like kind of clothesline clubs. Or, like,
I love that sequence.
Where it's like you hit them, but they don't go down.
Yeah, both men just being defiant and just really, really hitting each other hard. It was awesome.
There's yes kicks from Danielson. Dax ducks the roundhouse because almost everyone does. Attempts a German. Danielson flips out, goes for the Psycho knee, but Dax catches him, hits a slingshot powerbomb for 2.
Love that move too.
Then the finish comes and they're going like back and forth, pins in a small package. And something else then transitions his into a label lock, and Dax eventually taps, which is pretty cool.
Yeah, I thought this was pretty fantastic. There wasn't much chance I wasn't gonna like it. I thought this was an awesome one-on-one TV match. You know Harwood's not winning because it's like he's super dominant in a tag team match, but he's just missing something, right? I don't know what it is,
Right.
but he can't quite get these single match results like he does. Super physical. That strike exchange in the middle I thought was captivating as they were just really taking liberties with each other and kind of standing there defiantly. And just everything each of these guys does looks really real and intense, which is my favorite style of wrestling, which is maybe one of my complaints with WWE, right? Is these guys are really beating the heck out of each other to a certain degree. So I could watch these guys wrestle each other all day. If there had been more of a build to this, obviously that would have made it even more interesting. But I thought this was a really, really good TV match.
Yeah, but I think it's one of those TV matches where it's just like you throw it because it's something good for TV.
Exactly. It works for me. I see they're facing each other. I'm excited. So
yeah,
works for me.
I think this could have been better with more time. But I think for what they got, they did a great job. Definitely a step up from the first match we got last week, which was Hager and Cassidy.
Yeah, very true. Very good comparison.
The clothesline bit they had was pretty cool, like you said. They just kept going and kept countering moves as well, which was cool. Namely, that sequence that ended in the slingshot powerbomb was pretty cool. I wish it went a little longer, but it was really good for a TV match. And at least we can say this match happened.
Yes,
We haven't gotten it before.
that's right. I enjoyed it.
Kind of a random one, but sometimes that's how it goes.
Yeah, you can make it random as long as it's engaging. I'm fine with it.
Next we have a Ricky Starks interview, and he says he's going to enter the Dynamite Diamond Ring Battle Royal, which is next week, and he says he'll win it because he's coming for everything MJF has, and he's coming for his spot. Good luck. And he is owed everything MJF has, and he's absolute for a reason. He'll prove it this week and next week and at Winter's Coming, so the next 3 consecutive weeks. And then to also, like, my thoughts were, like, Shivani mentioned the Ring Battle Royal will have slightly different rules, with MJF being the champion as well, which I don't know why, because I don't think you get anything when you get the ring. But anyways, they also failed to mention what that would entail, so I'm curious.
I'm imagining it gets them a number 1 contender spot.
But MJF's champion.
But they're going to change the rules, so...
But what if he wins the ring?
He
Then
won't.
Does he get a number 1 contender
That's what
spot?
I'm saying. He won't. I don't know.
Why wouldn't he?
Maybe then he can choose his contender or something. I don't know.
What? He would choose no one then.
No, he would.
But
choose.
isn't the ring, that's his cheating mechanism?
It is. So I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah. The promo was solid though.
Yeah, I thought it was logical for him to say these things, right? That he wants to take everything from MJF. Well delivered. Like, he's a good talker, but we all know neither of those things are going to happen, right? So it's kind of, it makes sense for him to say it, but good luck with any of that, Ricky Starks, right? That you're the classic, like, placeholder challenger right now.
I think the most likely win that isn't MJF would be Ethan Page, and then maybe Starks doesn't win the Battle Royal, but he screws MJF out of the ring, and then Page takes the ring, because I could see Page working with that.
Yeah.
But I don't think...
Ethan Page or Hangman Page?
Oh, definitely Hangman.
Yeah.
No, Ethan Page, because he's actually in the match. And I don't know, I feel like that would work if it's not MJF. I think it works the best with MJF. Like, that should just be the thing that he keeps winning.
He never loses it.
Yeah, it's his ring.
It's his Undertaker streak.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And then when he wins it, it'll be like it'll be their equivalent to Brock Lesnar, someone who's not young and doesn't need the win, but they gave it to him anyways.
See, they should give him a new ring every time, and then he gets so many, he fuses them into brass knuckles. So he has brass knuckles made of the Dynamite rings.
Dynamite Diamond Knucks.
Right. That would be cool. Anyways, carry on. We got to get moving.
So next then we come back from commercial break, and Moxley and Hangman go at it again because security are escorting Hangman away. Mox comes back out, and they're brawling through some parking lot looking area.
Yeah.
At one point, Mox went into one of those garage doors. It's a solid bit, like, sells this as a hot thing already. Like, it's just a small
it was just
piece.
a few second cutaway to them, like, continuously brawling. I'm fine with it.
Then we get, like, a Jazz Blackpool interview thing with Renee, like, sitting down with them, because that's what we needed.
I don't, like, again, how long has this feud been going on?
Since
how many months?
Since April, at least.
Here's, I'm counting on my fingers, right? April, May, June, July, August, September, October, November.
December.
8 months.
August.
Plus.
Well, yeah, okay. So
let it
months.
die. I don't know. Like, and we're guys that like long range feuds and stuff, but this is...
It feels almost aimless. Like,
it is at this point.
Long-term storytelling without a purpose is not, like...
Right.
It's not... This is not the Elite in Hangman. This is not...
So
anything
I
like
didn't
that.
need this, but we got it.
No.
And no physicality is agreed to.
Jericho's not even here, because this one of the focal points
true.
here is that Claudio and versus Jericho is coming up at Final Battle. Jericho's not even here.
No.
So literally the entire... Okay, I guess Guevara's not there. Never mind. So it's 2.0 Garcia and Hager opposite Yuta and Claudio.
Yeah.
Because is Blackpool still even a thing?
That's the other question, right? Like,
if Regal leaves, do we even have the right to call Blackpool anymore? Because none of them are from Blackpool.
I wouldn't think so. That's his thing, right? So
right,
they're gonna have to figure some of this out. But yeah, I don't need this to continue.
So Menard talked about Claudio will join Jazz when he loses to Jericho Final Battle. And Claudio says he's sick of them, sick of the sit down interview, and he's going to prove he's better than Jericho. He leaves. And so after this, he leaves because Garcia challenges them to a tag match against Hager and him next week.
Sure.
Yeah. Yuta said that's fine, but he wants to face Garcia for the pure title at Final Battle, and Garcia accepted.
That'll be cool.
Yeah.
I'm fine with that.
I guess that's their rubber match.
Yeah.
Right. I thought it was fine. I like Renee because she actually tried to get things under control when they kind of started arguing. So I like that she's kind of like...
She's good in that role.
She's the interviewer that's got some personality. That's actually kind of like... trying to keep things in line. You know what I mean? Like
Yes.
if she's trying to keep her segment like
Because the rest
how
of
it's
them all
supposed to
just
be.
blend together. Like
They
they're
just
just
they
standing
just do
there
the interview
holding a
and like right.
microphone. Yeah.
So he's not the, and I thought like this is fine. Claudio's bit was fine. He's not the only one sick of this whole thing.
Yes.
The him joining Jazz stipulation is lame because I heard that there was some stipulation in that match on Rampage.
It's gonna happen.
And that's your stipulation. That's lame.
I think that's gonna happen, and I don't want it to because I don't. It doesn't make sense.
Doesn't make sense. I don't care.
But I think like because as we're saying, the Blackpool Combat Club's already splintering, right? Like there's no reason to salvage that. Like I thought this was okay. Like I thought actually Wheeler Yuta sounded good, which is nice because sometimes he doesn't. But I didn't think Claudio did.
Yeah.
And then the rest of Jazz were just being loud, obnoxious.
Yeah.
Which they're supposed to be. But again, like just I don't want this anymore. I want it to end. And maybe when Claudio joins Jazz, that's the death of Blackpool Combat Club. I don't know. But something's got to give here, right? This has to end at some point.
Right. Wait.
What happened? Yeah, right?
Okay, there we go. Samoa Joe next versus AR Fox for the TNT title.
Officially signed AR Fox now. Officially All Elite. Actually, go ahead and talk. I'm curious how old he is because I know he's been wrestling forever.
Some notables. Joe went for a clothesline, but Fox ducks underneath, kicks up, and then hits an enziguri. He goes for a topic on heel on the outside, but Joe does that thing where he just like walks out of the way smugly. But Fox also leans on his feet and hits a pump kick to Joe.
He's 35.
That's not bad.
Yeah, no.
Kick combo followed by a basement cutter and a 450 splash for 2 by Fox. Basement cutter is kind of weird because he's really close to the ground. So it's like
not a ton of impact.
How much damage are you really going to do there?
Right.
Fox goes for a swanton, but Joe again does a thing where he just smugly walks out of the way, which is always funny. Then he rams Fox with a back elbow, and he actually wins with the muscle buster, to my surprise. Joe welcomes us to a new and glorious area and says he's the one true king of television, which I love that. I love that nickname.
King
That's
of
funny.
TV?
Yeah, because he's got both TV titles, so
makes sense.
I really like that. Wardlow interrupts on the Tron and mocks the nickname and the mocks because he's blaming him for War Joe.
Yeah.
And he says he's coming for what's his and says it's Wardlow's world, blah, blah, blah. I thought it was a solid little match here. I thought Fox had a solid showing for the little he got. I think he looked better in the trios match, but still solid here.
Yeah.
And Joe also looked good, like decently dominant.
He did.
Pretty short one here, but they fit a solid amount of stuff for the time they had, and Joe cooled the 2 belts. Wardlow, fine.
Yeah, it was a good match. Joe looked dominant for sure. Fox got a few highlights. I was hoping he'd get a little bit more. But still, and the post-match Wardlow encounter was fine, but like, how do you feel about Wardlow's world line? I can't stand it.
Like, I don't know, it's fine.
Makes me
for
think
a
of
few
Elmo's
times,
world, and it's just not an intimidating thing, right?
I don't know. I think you kind of need to give it a rest. Like, why do we keep going back to that?
I don't like it. I think it's a bad like whatever line for him to say all the time. Not a big fan of it, but anyways.
Yeah, it's not like you're Adam Cole and you're saying that's undisputed.
Right.
Which was cool.
It's just, I don't know, Wardlow's world, it sounds juvenile. I don't know, I don't like it for him. I find it's bad.
Yeah, I don't know, it's weird.
It's bad. This catchphrase is bad.
Catchphrase reviewer.
For all you Office fans, you might get that reference.
Nice. Next we got Hobbs vignette, which is kind of cool. He was just like walking the streets. I think it was Cali, and he was talking about how he's been bullied and beaten up, and it's only made him tougher. He says he's gonna take what belongs to him, to be continued.
Even though he didn't, but
it was what he's going to.
But I thought this was a cool, like just different. I like when they put people in different settings, right? So it's like when Carmelo's in the barber shop and you find a different place. I like this. And I'm glad
Is he gonna put Trick through the window?
I'm glad he's still getting attention, even if it's a quick little thing like this. Because Hobbs is
cool because it was unique. So.
Yeah, right. It's different.
Short little bit, but it's cool. Speaking of short, next we get MJF speaking.
Not short. Far too long. I'll tell you right now, people. Far too long.
Spoiler.
Yeah.
So Regal comes out and introduces MJF. MJF speaks, and the first thing we get is Regal speaking.
Right.
MJF said that the only thing I don't like about Regal and AEW is that they don't get to use his iconic theme.
And he's got his full-on heel scowl on his face. He looks the way he could changes his face to be a heel is so cool. He's the best.
So MJF comes out and says he knows the fans aren't bright, but when the best wrestler in the world has a microphone, they should keep their hillbilly mouths shut. And then it led to the fans were chanting "shut the f up," and then he read the email from Regal telling MJF that he was weak after the firm attacked him. Regal told MJF he didn't have to grab the diamond ring. He had to grab the brass ring, brass knuckles. MJF said he met with Regal many times, saying that Regal is a genius. MJF said that Regal didn't want MJF just to beat Moxley. He wanted MJF to leave Moxley with an emotional scar, so he didn't forget the day that he was outsmarted by MJF. Which, like, does Regal hate Moxley or something? Like,
I don't know. There's no explanation of that.
I thought it was the
really.
whole thing, like, he respects and likes him and Danielson, like, because they have all that history or
I
whatever.
guess his desire to create the ultimate mega heel, it overpowers all of his other connections. I don't know if that's
something
the
like that,
story.
I guess. I don't know. MJ brought up the firm saying he kind of respects them. They saw weakness in him, and he said they attacked him, and he would have done the exact same thing. And he says he's not the type to chase anyone down because that requires effort, and effort is for pores like the crowd.
So basically, I'm done with the firm, right? Don't expect me to seek any revenge. That was just a minute. Like, I guess.
I wish they were still affiliated with him. I don't get why they did the whole thing of, like, because now he's uber heel again. So it's like, why did you do the whole fake babyface split with them thing? And where's W. Morrissey? I want to see W. Morrissey.
And now it's like all of those guys are so far beneath me, I'm not even going to be bothered to deal with them.
Right.
Which is what he's saying here. Which
I
makes
don't know.
sense.
It's kind of weird.
Yeah.
So he moved on to talk about the world title, saying he made a promise to make change around here. And he said when he looked at the title, it makes him gag 'cause it's tacky. It lacks class. It reminds him of all the men who held it previously. MJ said they were all talented in their own right, but none of them on his level. He said this version of the AEW title is garbage, much like the fans, and he tossed it down. Regal moved like the black cover on the thing they had, and it's an AEW world title, but he calls it the Big Burberry belt, the Triple B.
Right.
Because the strap kind of has like the scarf pattern on it.
It is pretty subtle, but it's there, yeah.
I like it.
Yeah, me too.
Just because it's not like over flashy, and like it is, I guess, the classy that he's referring to.
Yeah.
And Shivani hated it.
Yeah. He did.
Yeah. MJ said that nobody deserved to be recognized as world champion except for him, because he won the title. But okay.
Makes sense.
He trashed fake tough guys like Kingston. And saying he'll never be world champion. He called Ricky Starks a fake tough guy, and he's a fake star. He talked about the worst of the worst fake wrestlers like Bryan Danielson. He said that in comparison to him, Danielson couldn't wrestle his way to a goddamn paper bag.
I wonder if he's lining up his opponents here. Kingston, Danielson. I'm fine with both of those. Starks is already happening, so. Yeah.
So maybe, I don't know.
Yeah.
Kingston hasn't really been doing much.
No. But you can heat him up fast.
Mm-hmm.
People love him.
And MJF told Regal that some people can't be helped, even though Regal helped Bryan. MJF continued.
Did he ever?
Yeah, and he said he's going to be world champion for a very long time, and all the way, in fact, until the bidding war of 24. He says he'll use the Triple B to get a bigger contract and trash the crowd again, saying he'll get more money in a day than the fans will get in their lives. And he talked about how the right con will need to show him the money. Well, he mentioned Nick.
Right.
Which I forgot he's the co-CEO with Steph, I think. Like, I forgot he kind of runs it.
Yep, he does.
And his buddy Trips.
Yep.
Which he actually said, which was funny.
He did.
He says he's getting sick of looking at wrestling fans, so maybe Hollywood will win. And he talks about how there are some fans that were over the moon when he became world champion, said that your happiness will turn to resentment because you people are fickle. Which I saw someone compare, like, that Danielson said that when he unveiled his own custom title.
That's correct.
So
fickle was his big thing for a while there. I remember that. Yep.
Planet's champion. He says all he does, or soon that they will say he's boring, repetitive. All he does is talk. He's a coward. He never wrestles into those people. He says great. MJ said that those are the people that will pray to God that somebody takes Triple B off of him. He says he'll defend the title very rarely and wrestle very rarely because he's a special attraction. He told the fans to buy a pay-per-view to see somebody try to dethrone him. MJ said he'll have a title reign that'll be long. While he trashed Hogan, JBL, Jeff Jarrett, San Martino, who will rot in his grave. MJF held up the title, and he said he almost forgot. He said that without these brass knuckles and without Regal, none of this is even possible. He said that for 40 years, Regal has given blood, sweat, and sacrifice to this business. And that's what he wanted to say from the bottom of his heart. And then he hits him in the back of the head with the
he's sort of walking behind him as he's saying that, and then blindsides him in the back of the head with the knucks.
Regal gets taken out, and then they kind of sell it because obviously Regal's got that history of injuries.
So really lengthy, like came back from the break, and they're still putting him on the backboard and stuff, right? So very serious, treating this as it seems like a write-off for Regal. We'll see, I guess. I don't know, man. This was too long for me. MJF always good speaking, but just. And it's funny because I made a quote note of one of his quotes because he is so good on the mic. So when he screws up, it makes me laugh. Remember, he said, like sharks smelling water
Yeah.
instead of blood in the water, I guess. I do like the idea that they brought. Remember, this whole thing kind of started with an email and now is kind of ending with an email.
Oh yeah, he kind of mocked that line as Regal was down. He was like saying something about that.
Right, because I don't think he would have liked. Because remember, Regal's comeback was basically like, dude, you got that upset about an email? Like, you're not a true villain, right? Like, and I think MJF, that's sort of stuck in his craw, as they say. So I kind of like that coming back around. But they could have condensed this a lot. I do like the heel belt, the custom belt for MJF, because, like, it plays into this, like, he believes he's just holding this thing forever, right? He's never losing it, so I'll make my own belt, and that'll be the belt
Right.
going forward. So I kind of like that. Again, they could have condensed this for me. How do you feel about the constant references to like WWE, the free agency, Triple H? I see a lot of people don't think that's good for. It doesn't bother me. I don't know.
No, I think
And
I think it's interesting.
and even if he does end up leaving to WWE, that's
That's kind of a payoff.
right. You're right. So I've seen a lot of people are like, oh, they shouldn't do that and acknowledge the other company. But that's WWE style, and I've never liked that, right? That they're treating them like no other company exists. We are it. So again, I like realism. So realistic. He's a free agent. He's a
Or he
horrible.
will be.
He's a horrible monster. He's gonna try and get as much money as he can. It makes sense for his character. So I
Right.
personally don't
Right.
mind it.
Mhm.
But again, I like the attack on Regal. I guess if it means he's gone from AEW, I don't love it so much. But this is the MJF that we want, right? Just an absolute heel. So other than being far, far too long, there were some really good
Yeah.
parts to this.
Yeah, I thought it was pretty good. MJF always delivers really well, and happy we got more context on the Full Gear events. And the belt is pretty nice. At least it looks the same because that belt's beautiful.
Right. I didn't want any major changes either. So just
I thought
subtle
I saw some people saying you should have trolled everyone with a spinner belt.
or made it really small like the original women's belt. But yeah, it's just a different leather, I guess, strap on it that looks cool, I thought.
Yeah, and then they can sell that when he's done.
Right. Merch.
Yeah,
sure.
like make replicas of that. It was a little too long, but MJF's great, so I still liked it. And I thought the turn was a little surprising, but I'm interested to see what happens now if he's even still here.
Yeah.
So at least we got something interesting out of this. Again, I don't know what this means for Blackpool, because now Regal has no affiliations or some affiliations.
Dead, basically, yeah.
He's dead. I don't know.
Death on wrestling this week,
Yeah.
Multiple.
Yeah, so we come back from commercial break with Regal being stretchered into an ambulance, and then it drives away.
Mm-hmm.
Then next we got Ricky Starks versus Ari Daivari.
Epic.
Yeah.
Epic match.
Paige and Hathaway come out to speak, but Matt Hardy interrupts them, and then they tell him to go to the back because they own him, and he's gonna help Paige win the ring. And then Paige cuts a quick promo saying Starks took away number one contendership from him. He tells Starks he's gonna lose to MJF if he even makes it to Winners Coming, and Paige will come and take on MJF when he's tired and done with Starks, and he'll beat him, and Starks can sit there and cry. So then Daivari attacks him off the distraction. Spear, Rochambeau, Starks wins.
Yeah, I had already forgotten Matt Hardy's role in anything.
I forgot that A, that angle happened, B, that the match actually happened, C, I didn't know that Paige won.
So it's not just me then.
No, I
Perfect.
totally forgot.
Me too. So absolute squash. See what I did there?
Ha.
And this again, just to have us think that Starks has a chance against MJF, which he doesn't. And I guess he's still involved with Ethan Page, right? So didn't you feel like this is like Starks is losing to MJF, Starks and Page are not done their feud?
I guess so.
Sort of feels like where it's going. So whatever. It was nice to see the Rochambeau, right? So cool. Like this was more about the
More of an
angle
angle,
than the match,
but not much.
That's
even.
fine, yeah.
Yeah,
And
that's
I don't
fine.
need Matt Hardy in any capacity, so feel free to not do that.
I'm just glad we have the sober Hardy.
I guess.
Boom, roasted.
Mm-hmm.
Next we get a Baker Hater interview. Baker talks about Pittsburgh Steelers winning whatever. I don't care. Moving on.
Football.
Sure. Saraya having a sit down interview, I think, on Rampage, and Hater says Tish Funny wasn't he sit down with her, and they pressure him settling on that for next week. Baker signs off. It was pretty short, but I think it was fine. I think Hater in that capacity will be interesting because she can kind of flex her promo chops a bit more.
Mm-hmm.
So
Which
we'll
I
see
think she's pretty decent.
We'll see how that goes.
So I thought this was pretty good too, and they do have a point about Saraya getting more attention than Hater, right? That should not be how this is going right now. And I want this title run to be about Hater, not Baker. So Baker like interrupting and stuff, because she's already an established star and she's amazing. And this for me, this is Hater's time to emerge. However, I will say it's easy to forgive that because I think this is the beginning of like a lengthy breakup storyline where Hater's gonna get tired of Britt doing these things, right? And sort of like taking a backseat to her, even though she's the champion. So I could see this becoming like face
Right.
turn for Hater. So in that case, I'm not too upset about it if that's where it's going. But I do want at some point that Hater is the focus of this because it still feels like Britt Baker's the faction leader and one of her faction members has the belt, which is strange and kind of interesting to see
Right.
where they go with it, right? And I suspect that is the storyline they're going to go with. So I'm going to be patient and hope that they eventually let Hater start speaking for herself as well. Yes.
Mm-hmm. What the heck? There we go. Sorry.
It's okay.
Next we have our women's match, which is Willow versus Anna Jay.
This is, I'm going to say it. How many weeks do I say it? This is your women's match on Dynamite this week. What are you doing?
Anna Jay.
Anna Jay.
Anna Jay.
And even though I'm a Willow fan, it's not like she's been built to be an attraction at this point either. Maybe this is what they're going to do, but I like Willow, but
How interesting is
right.
she?
How like she's not elevated right now.
Right.
But anyways, carry on.
There's a series of short arm lyrics by Willow. Jay blocks one, hits a back elbow, then Willow hits a back suplex and a low crossbody for 2. Blockbuster by Jay, Spinebuster by Willow for 2, Gory Bomb by Jay for 2.
Good. I'll give
Willow
her credit.
wins the Doctor Bomb. Ruby Soho returns after the match to get payback on Ty Conti for breaking her nose.
Right.
Notice how fast I was able to do this.
So I have a
That's
note
not
here with an
interesting.
exclamation point. So maybe you remember because that means I liked it in my own shorthand. Willow shows us how to break a hold. What did she do?
I have no idea. Oh, she just like fell back on a sleeper.
Oh, that's right. She was in the Queen Slayer and she like brought all of her body weight back and it looked pretty awesome actually.
Oh, your
So-
favorite submission.
Right, the Queen Slayer. So I like Willow. She showed some pretty cool high impact stuff in this. And Anna Jay, like, serviceable, I guess, is the nicest way to put it. So she gave Willow a heel to play off of, I guess, in this. But again, only women's match this week. Ruby Soho's return doesn't do anything for me. I don't know about you, but like,
I don't really care.
good for her that
I guess
she's
that's another person they can not really use a lot.
good for her. She's cleared to wrestle, I guess. But and whatever she hit on the ramp to Conti did look good, I thought.
It's okay.
I liked it anyways.
It's like a worse version of Sister Abigail, though.
But my complaint is like
Or a Blade Runner.
because I like Willow and I think she can be a strong babyface, you kind of like gave her a bit of momentum winning and then took it away because it's not about her anymore, right? The match is over now. It's all about Ty Conti or whatever, Ty Mello, right? I think.
Yeah.
And Ruby Soho now. So her winning a match is just like a backdrop for other people. So
Right.
I didn't love that because the fans are kind of behind Willow and are willing to get behind Willow. So I was hoping, and maybe that's still the plan for her to build some steam. But I'm glad she got a win. But then I feel like they just pulled away any momentum she had by being like, nope, it's about other people now. So
Right.
that's my thought on
Mhm.
that.
It was a fine enhancement match. The word that comes to mind is subpar.
Yeah,
Um,
it's Anna Jay, man. Like she's young, and I'm not saying she'll never be good, but she's not good now.
I don't know what she is anymore.
She's-
She's not star of the show. She's not heel Queen Slayer. She's not Dark Order. She's Anna JAS, and I don't know what her thing. Other than that, she's a sports entertainer, which is the bare minimum everyone in that faction
But
gets.
what does that mean?
Exactly, and I don't know what she is.
No, and I mean she's adequate in the ring, I guess, but I find like
I don't want adequate.
I don't really believe her in any character, babyface or heel. I'm just like, you're just kind of there,
The best thing she ever did was
So-
choking out Brandy Rhodes, and that's because I
Right.
hate Brandy Rhodes.
right? So yeah, I don't know, not a big Anna Jay fan, but again, super young, could turn out to be amazing. I hope so.
I
Not-
haven't seen
not
Brandy
now, though.
I haven't seen Brandy Rhodes in ages.
Okay, carry on.
Genuine smile.
House of Black.
Oh yeah, so there's just a recap of House of Black killing everybody. To recap, good.
Yep.
Next we get QT Orange Cassidy interview, kind of off the
And-
back of that because it's kind of related.
One line I liked specifically from that was they said, "One of us making less of them." I thought that was a cool.
Oh yeah, I think the line was like, by the end of the week you'll see more of us making less of them.
Right.
I think.
Which I think is cool.
Yeah.
So they're gonna like maybe one by one start taking out that group, which would be cool.
Well, they took up both groups.
I guess yes, true. Heel or babyface, they do not care. Sorry, carry on.
Kill all.
Yep.
QT says they have unfinished business, and he keeps getting interrupted. Wants a title shot, and Cassie's just like, sure, okay, yeah. And then QT's like, it'll be a lumberjack match, and he's just like, okay, yeah. And he's just like right away.
Yeah.
So I thought that was actually pretty funny.
Me too.
So that was funny. QT as a title challenger is one of the worst and least believable ones since Lee Johnson. Note how they are both from the same faction.
I thought Cassidy played this beautifully, and I actually laughed because like QT's the heel who just wants to run his mouth, but nobody like the interviewer nor the person he's talking to are willing to listen, and they just sort of like cut him off and move on, which
Right.
I thought was pretty funny.
I think the Factory is such a crappy faction because QT's definitely the most high profile guy in there.
Yes.
So when QT's the most high profile guy in a faction,
To me, like have them as a heel faction on your internet shows, no problem. They do not need to be on TV, especially considering the bloated nature of this roster. Guys, this low on your card, they don't need to be on TV at all. Even though I like
you're
this
telling
little
me
segment.
I need to see Cole Carter on Rampage?
Right.
Nope.
No, not at all. He can go on Dark and Elevation, sure. And then maybe, I don't know, you start developing them, whatever, but they don't need to be on
It's
TV.
been a waste of time since he faced Ricky Starks randomly.
There's so many people that don't get on TV at all. Like, this is not who I put on. But still like the segment, so.
Next we get the Cargill segment.
Yeah.
Yay.
You didn't like it, I'm guessing.
No, not really. So she's wearing like she had like a green robe, and then she had like this thing where it's supposed to look like, I guess, like a bikini or whatever, like with like money on it, but she's got like money bills on like her arms and legs, so it's clearly like a whole bodysuit thing, right?
It's like
but most of it's meant to look like
skin-colored bodysuit.
And so it looked really weird because at first I thought genuinely it was, but then I was like, she has money on her legs, so I'm like, oh, okay, she's wearing like leggings, like because he said like a lot of the time like it's not their real legs or whatever.
Yeah, they're
like,
all usually wearing
with
some sort of
people.
leotard or I don't know what you call it.
With some people, right? But like, then I noticed that was on her arm, so I was like, wait, is she wearing the whole thing? And then when she's like talking, move her arms, you can see like the
little seams and creases.
The seams, yes, that's the word I'm looking for.
I
and
got
like
you,
all the
man.
creases and like near her like arm, like the armpit general area. And it's like, oh, okay. And then like once I noticed, I was like, that's really weird.
Well,
why would you wear that? And then I also noticed her abs were less defined because usually, like, she's like
super ripped. Yeah.
And when that's like not like, I was just like, that's a really weird choice for an outfit.
I think part of it is because they're trying to make the main parts with the money so skimpy and tiny that the other parts help hold it in place, right? Because she can't have a wardrobe malfunction because there's not a lot of material covering the things that need to be covered.
So you got to cover everything.
So I think it kind of helps secure it in place, maybe. I don't know.
It looks so weird. I'm like,
you were very much focused on that.
That's probably the most interesting thing of this segment to me, and
I
am not kidding. So Jade said they're there for a celebration. She said that she says who stays and who goes in the baddies. Jade was confused by Red and Layla were chilling with Kiera Hogan last weekend. No. But she's not a baddie.
She is not. She has been expelled from the group.
Her services are no longer required.
Nope.
Jade said that she got her title back from Nyla Rose at the pay-per-view, and she said sitting next to her is a blessing. Cargill said that the baddies are eating off of her and the company's eating off of her.
Gonna have to disagree. Agree to disagree.
I'm gonna have to say no.
She just
no.
Isn't progressing, man. Like I like
she was good for her experience, but and she's still
at some point you have to stop saying that, right?
Right.
I agree. I
think we've kind of hit that point.
I think so too.
Now it's like she's fine.
Right.
But like we need development.
It feels like the ceiling is getting lower because I expected her to be better, like keep on that upward trajectory, and I feel like she's plateaued. And maybe it's just the competition they're giving her or whatever. I don't know, but she doesn't seem to be getting a lot better.
And like I thought the women's mid-card title was a good idea, but
me too.
I don't care.
If she's just gonna hold it forever and have mediocre matches,
I just don't care.
It's not that exciting.
Right.
Right.
Queen of television, my ass. All right. Cargill said that nobody has her body, her face, and her aura. Nobody has her bodysuit either. Boom. Roasted. She said she's the real deal because she creates careers, and she trashed Lil Bow Wow against his whole joke. Why?
Celebrity.
I don't get it.
Celebrity.
Okay, but like it's not even like it's Swerve where they're friends with them, or like, and it's not even like she can feud with him because he's a male person. I don't get it. Then Bow Wow's on the Tron congratulating Cargill on the win. She says he's done with his tour. He's gonna see her real soon. I don't understand why. Tell me why.
I don't know.
Why?
Maybe they're gonna wrestle.
Why? They are not going to wrestle. Like why? I don't know. This was lame because like I don't know, the part where she was talking about the baddies and kicking Hogan out was fine, But the rest of it felt like any Cargo promo, which is boring. Like you said, she's really plateaued, and it's been stale for me. It's kind of like when Roman got stale, but on a lesser scale, so it's worse.
And to me, her mic work and character work are her best qualities, but they're just the same thing.
Right.
And I thought she was a bit uncomfortable at the beginning of this one, not as good as usual.
The outfit's weird, and then again, why with the Bow Wow? I don't get it.
I don't know.
And I don't know who that is. Who's Bow Wow?
I don't care about him either.
Who?
He's a hip hop dude, is he not?
Yeah, who though? I don't
know.
Like,
we're not hip hop listeners, so we wouldn't know.
But it's so annoying because it's like I don't understand the like, and it's not even like Swerve bringing someone. It's like she just randomly started arguing with this guy after the pay-per-view or whatever, and I don't know why. They did not. They said they were gonna like explain it. They showed a bit of it. They did not explain it to me. I still don't know what the point of this is, and I don't care.
And to further your vitriol, like they could be using this time and energy to build a female wrestler on the roster
honestly,
to face her.
Chuck another women's match on here. Like even if it's something like Willow and Anna Jay, if you had a second one on here,
right?
At least there's two.
You're putting time and energy into a feud with someone in theory she can't wrestle, right? What's the payoff?
Someone I don't know and I don't want to know.
When you're drastically underdeveloping and underbuilding women, you could use that time. So I don't get it.
Not even like a female rapper. It's Bow Wow.
And the crowd didn't seem to like this. And as you pointed out, and you were definitely correct, in what way was this a celebration of anything?
Oh yeah, I forgot to mention that. This was like that one Baker. Like there was no celebrating whatsoever. It's just her.
There
like
was less than the Baker one.
If anything, is the opposite of celebrating because she was like kind of peeved at them for hanging with Hogan.
Right.
So if anything, it was the opposite of celebration because she was all angry and whatnot. And then there's the bow. Like there was zero celebrating. It's just there's a table of stuff behind them.
Right.
Which amounted to literally nothing. You didn't even put someone through the table.
Right.
Like there was no point of this. Like. And, like, this makes zero sense, and I don't want this here.
What's that called? Chekhov's gun, I think it is. Where if you, like, introduce it in a story, it has to be fired. Like, if you, in a wrestling story, introduce a table full of stuff, it has to be used. Or if you bring a cake, someone's got to end up covered in cake.
Or eat the goddamn cake. The baddies didn't say anything, so why don't have them eat some freaking cake?
Safe to say we did not enjoy this segment.
No, it was... What was the point?
We've spent too much time on it.
We get nothing out of this
I agree.
at all. Next we get the Acclaimed. So there's like a drill sergeant like thing, just to summarize, where the Gun's like asking them questions, and he was like, "Why is nobody facing them?" So they basically replied, they'll face the second best team in AEW. This is fine, pretty sure. I thought nothing of this. Little did I know this would be them facing FTR.
Right. I thought this.
Honestly, that did not cross my mind.
I thought this felt contrived and like at the time I thought a little bit pointless, but
this felt a little goofy. But
it was for Acclaimed stuff, which is usually pretty good. I wasn't a fan of this, but
fine,
it was super quick.
Really short. And I really didn't think anything of this. I probably should have seen that coming, but again, I did not. I thought the FTR match would be at least on Winners Coming.
Right. But
It's
I guess when they're
weird.
saying second best tag team, that's who they're referring to, which makes sense.
I should have. That's probably on me for not thinking that. But honestly, I didn't make the connection until I saw it, and then I was like, oh.
In our defense, they haven't updated ratings in months, so
yeah,
I think
I'm pretty
August,
sure they died.
So we don't know who the number 2 is.
Right, because that could technically be referring. You could be referring to Jeff Jarrett and Jay Lethal.
For sure, they're on a winning streak.
I mean, at least the good news is they have not doubled down on when they had this promo segment with the Acclaimed. So
yes,
there's
I
that.
guess so. Yep. Main event time.
I swear they have a match. I think I saw Lethal and Jarrett are facing someone.
Great. More Jeff Jarrett in ring in 2022 is exactly what I need.
Bordering on 2023, buddy.
Yeah, that's true. You're right. We could get there. We can still get there.
It's about to get a whole lot worse.
He wants to tack one more year onto that career.
One more year onto the career, and then we do the Jeff Jarrett's last match.
So last night, because I have a sickness, I was watching the very first episode of TNA to be on Spike, and Jarrett was the champion at that point, so I can't even escape him, because I think that was, 2005, I want to say?
Right, so we would have that NWA title or something?
So the opener was AJ Styles facing a very young Roderick Strong, who was already at that point the messiah of the backbreaker.
Wow, so that's been his forever thing.
He didn't get a lot in that match. It didn't showcase. It was not meant to showcase Roddy, I guess, right? But yes, Jarrett was. I can't escape him even when I'm watching old stuff on YouTube.
Just randomly watching WCW. Oh, hi, Jeff Jarrett.
Yeah, exactly.
Like
slap nuts, which I still think is one of the dumbest catchphrase insults. That's Jeff Jarrett's thing. Slap nuts, he calls people. and it's so stupid. Anyways, he's awful. Carry on.
As you do.
He doesn't deserve any oxygen from us.
So next we get Death Triangle versus the Elite, the third match, best of 7 series.
I'm so sick of this. Nope. It's the anti-Jazz Blackpool Combat Club. You could do this for 7 months, and I'm fine with
I would be okay with it. You could have like
every combination of singles, and I don't care, whatever you
you
want.
could have this match 52 times in a row all year, and
I'll watch it.
Yeah, exactly.
I'll watch it because they've so far are finding different ways. Like this was the brawling one, right?
Right.
So anyway,
they've all been different.
Go ahead.
So to recap, Death Triangle is at 2-0.
Right.
And honestly, I want to say I
Must
really
win for Elite.
I really like the Elite, and that's part of the narrative, which I'll
Yes.
talk about, which I really liked. The Elite's entrance is really cool.
Yep.
I just like there's like the fog, right, and it's kind of like got like that blue light behind them, so it looks like it's just like 3 black silhouettes, and then they kind of shift into their like triple pose thing. It looks so cool.
So do you think Wayward Son is just for the Elite, or will that be the Bucks?
I think it's for the Elite.
Me too.
I
like it.
And
that
I
way.
would exactly. I like it for that because honestly, I think Bucks theme is great, which is why I hope they keep it. And I think Omega's. I don't think there's any chance Omega uses it.
No.
I think at most it extends to the Bucks, but
Yeah.
I think Omega will keep it if you even go solo.
But then I don't like the idea that Omega's using the Bucks theme. It makes him feel secondary, so that's why I hope it's the Elite theme. You know what I
Right.
mean?
Exactly. So I like it, and I think it works really well. Actually, I like
It
how
does.
because there's that there's the bit at the beginning where there's just the lyrics and no.
Yeah.
So I like they kind of like hit into pose when the song picks up. Like it's kind of like Jane for Orange Cassidy.
Crowd
kinda
seems
like,
to respond too. So.
I don't know. I think their entrance is really cool, and then you kind of mentioned Death Triangle's entrance is really cool too with the triple spotlight thing.
Yeah.
I like that too. But
And one of the commentators heading into this, and because I wrote it down, they said that I think Death Triangle has been the way of the hammer, which I thought was kind of cool
Yeah.
as well, right? Because that's a huge thread through this story as well, which is also interesting
which
to me.
wasn't in this match, or
No.
they tried,
Yeah,
but
kind
like
of. It's
it
still there.
wasn't actually
Right.
present.
Right.
And so the Elite attack the Triangle on the stage during their entrance, and then brawl breaks out, which kind of ties to the underlying theme here, like because the desperation's there, right?
Yeah, it's just a different story to this one. They have to win, so they're gonna beat the crap out of them before the match, right? And that hasn't happened in this series, so it was cool.
I thought I heard Bijou.
I think you might have.
I think I did.
We got a cat in a litter box moment.
There's a Katara Crusher on the stage to pack by Omega just to go after the face
It looked
again.
really good too.
Yeah.
And that's the other thing. Like they keep going after this. I don't know whether his face is actually broken or
I
not.
think it
but
is.
They keep
Otherwise they
attacking
wouldn't.
it.
I don't think you just throw
Unless
one of
it's
those
just for
masks on.
storyline.
Yeah, but
Could be.
I don't. I think unless you're Cody Rhodes, I don't think you throw one of those on.
And I
just for
don't think
fun.
they're pleasant to wear either. It
Exactly.
seems to keep dropping over his sight line almost in this match.
Which makes me think like that. I don't know why you do that to yourself.
No,
on
I don't either.
purpose. Penta hits backbreakers to Nick and Omega. I think after we start in the ring. And then Matt tries to hit him with Wrecking Ball dropkick, but he accidentally takes out the ref. Then Penta takes out the Elite with a tope con hilo. I swear.
She's there.
Okay,
I hear
she's
you.
there. I can hear it now.
I know fans, you want that update of when the cat is outside in the hallway using her litter box. It's now. So it's at 1 hour 32 minutes in.
Okay.
Timestamp that every week.
Whenever we hear the cat.
Yeah.
Oh my god,
She's
now
digging.
I can really hear it.
She's digging.
She's going
Anyways, carry on.
Penta looks to hit Omega with the hammer. Phoenix tries to stop him, then eats a V-trigger. Then Penta takes a double super kick and a snapdragon. Powerbomb roll through into a knee strike for 2 by Omega with Pac breaking the pin. There's a package power driver to Omega for near fall by Omega.
Don't think so.
By Penta.
Yep. That makes sense.
Avalanche Falcon Arrow to Omega by
Looked
Pac
awesome.
for 2.
Yeah.
That was pretty sweet.
It was.
Snapdragon by Pac to Omega again. Watt keeps
awesome.
just murdering him.
Yep.
Spinning kick and a wheelbarrow cutter for 2 by Nick to Phoenix. More bang for your buck. It's a near fall on Phoenix. Penta saves the pin though. Lucha Bros hit the foot stomp package pile driver to Matt. Pac pins him for some reason, but that gets a near fall. The finish comes and Pac goes for the black arrow on Matt. He gets the knees up to Pac's face and rolls him over to pin him while Omega and Nick hold Lucha Bros back. So Elite pick up the win 2-1 now.
That was another awesome match between these two, right? Like, again, they started out brawling just to switch things up, and then the story of the hammer, again, with Phoenix being sort of reluctant to use it, continues. I mean, I'm not going to try and rank them all, but this one probably was my favorite's the first match, and I think this is my second favorite, with the second match being still awesome, but not my favorite of the 3. And it kind of feels like, in a way, this is a screw you to Punk, because it's like hey, Punk, you're off TV. So now we're going to feature ourselves on TV every single week, and we're just going to put up killer matches every single week,
Every
right?
week.
So an awesome main event. Like, again, I can't get tired of watching these 6 guys wrestle. So I expected this to be fantastic, and it delivered. I loved it. Great main event. Awesome finish to the show. How long until that cat you are trying to hold on to attack? Oh, there she is. Attacks you.
Hey,
She just made the
you
podcast
want to speak?
with her little voice.
Okay. Bye.
By a cat.
Yes, I like this again. They delivered another great one, and the Elite finally get the win. And this one felt different again, which I really like because it started out the brawl with the Elite, attacking them, and so I like because that created another different dynamic in here, which I really like. And the last one, we kind of had the Elite being kind of working heels in Chicago, so like each one's felt different so far, and that's gonna keep
Yes.
this kind of going, right? And then we also had the dynamic of like with the Elite being more desperate here, not wanting to drop another fall, because if they go 3-0, that really puts them in a crappy position.
Yep.
So I thought the finish was really cool too, as it kind of went with that story. Looked cool, and Pac kind of came down on his face, and then connects to the last match with them targeting his face. By a small margin, probably my least favorite match, because I liked the one last week a lot. I like when it was kind of more standard. But now the Elite have a win, 2-1 in favor of Death Triangle. I thought this was great, though. Another great one. And again, it's different, so I think that works really well.
Yeah, another really solid episode of Dynamite. It's not quite in the A range for me. Really like the opening segment with Mox and Hangman, Dax and Danielson, obviously, and the main event was awesome. And then a few things along the way I didn't love, right? Like the Jas BCC thing I didn't really need. The Jade Cargill didn't really need. And if one more match were like super awesome, it'd be in the A range because the AR Fox Samoa was good, but not great.
Yeah.
So again, this seems to be the consistent level, which is fine. So I would give this show a B+ this week. So definitely check out the main event. I thought Dax Danielson was really good as well. So a B+ show, still really entertained, but not quite at that top tier for me.
Yeah, I think it was a good show too. I think it was pretty good overall. Like I really like I think the opener was pretty good. Like you said, the TNT title match was pretty solid. Like I think it was short, but it was pretty good. What else did we got? There was just a squash for Starks, which was fine. The women's match was meh. I thought the main event was really good. Obviously, it's my favorite one, and I don't think it's even close. And those are always worth checking. I think having the consistency of the trios match is really nice. As for segments, I think MJF's promo was really long, but it was also really good, so I think that's fine. All the Mox Hangman stuff I think was really well done. And the Jas Blackpool thing was fine. Baker was fine. I thought the Cargill thing was not very good.
Nope.
And the Acclaimed was fine, but that was really short. So I think in general a B+ is fair.
Nice. All right, so let's take a break from dissecting television shows and hit some trivia in a segment we always call Off the Top of His Head. All right, so this week I took a look at somebody who's popping up, getting a lot of attention in the wrestling world right now, and built some trivia based off of him, which I think you'll start out maybe not doing so well and then finish strong, but we'll see. So it is William Regal, Steven Regal, Lord, whatever, all of Regal's
Real man's
stuff.
man.
Correct. Actually, there's an answer to a question already coming from you, but we'll get there. So, just based on him being in the news of possibly being written off TV and moving to WWE, I thought I'd just look into stuff about him. So, compiled from a few different sources. Question number 1. I think there's between 15 to 20 questions here. In what year did Regal officially sign a contract in the United States with WCW? Probably guessing on this one, right?
93.
Very close.
92.
Yes,
That
1992.
would be my first guess, but I thought
I
that
think
was
he had
little too
wrestled a
early.
little bit, but didn't officially sign until that point. So when he initially debuted, Steve Regal, he was a babyface, right? 6 months later, he turned heel and became what character in WCW?
Lord Steven Regal?
Lord Steven Regal is correct.
I only know that because he was in 2K16 for some reason.
Here's one I didn't remember. As part of this new heel gimmick, Regal gained a manager. Do you know who it was?
No clue.
It was Bill Dundee, who
Oh.
then they dubbed Sir William.
Not Crocodile Dundee?
No. How many times was Regal a WCW TV champion?
2.
Double that.
7.
That test
4.
you just took wasn't about math this week, eh?
No.
In
Thank-
95,
thankfully not.
Regal formed a tag team. What was the team called?
Blackpool Combat Club.
No, but starts with the same letter.
Blackpool
No.
Bully Boys.
Pick a different color.
Blue Pool.
Blue.
Blue Bloods.
Yes, very good.
Is that with Terrorizing or something?
Close. Who was his actual partner in that team?
Was it like Dave Taylor or something?
Not yet, but it comes later. It was actually an
okay.
American person. It was Bobby Eaton.
Ah,
So then you're all around it. Who was initially slotted to be in Eaton's spot? You already said it.
Terrorizing.
Correct. Triple H was.
Because that just.
And then he went to WWE and did that gimmick, basically, right? He was a blue blood there as well.
Isn't everyone's blood technically blue?
Until it mixes with oxygen, apparently, yeah. That's why when you look through your veins, it looks blue.
I want to bleed blue.
So then this team would grow into a stable with the addition of who? You're all around that already too.
Dave Taylor.
And they added a butler. Do you know the name of the butler?
No.
Classic butler name. Jeeves.
Reginald.
Jeeves. The WCW career of Regal would also include one infamous moment that fans still talk about from 1998, when a match with a major star seemed to take a surprising turn. Have you heard this one?
I don't think so.
That there's rumors that he was beating up a certain person?
I feel like I have, but I don't remember what it was.
Who would you guess? A major star in WCW.
Goldberg.
Correct.
Really?
Yes. That he took... So his version is, no, we were just working a stiff match, but there's lots of speculation that Goldberg was not happy because Regal was sort of taking liberties with him.
Oh, wait.
Because maybe Regal didn't appreciate his mega push being a kind of Goldberg not being a wrestler and just being like an athlete.
Oh, I'm sorry.
You know.
Goldberg doesn't like getting hit for
right.
real?
Exactly.
Is that what that is?
Other than when he headbutts a locker himself, right?
Or when he kicked Bret Hart?
Right. Yes. Which WWE title, this is where I feel like you'll start to know stuff, did Regal win twice in 2000?
European.
Correct. Regal's a 4-time tag team champion with 3 different partners. Can you name the 3 partners?
Was one of them Christian?
No.
Or someone in the Un-Americans? No.
No. Yes. Sorry.
Storm?
Yes.
Eugene?
Correct. Another international star.
Tajiri.
Correct. Very good. I thought you might get better here. How many times was Regal Intercontinental Champion?
2.
Correct. Do you know any details of those that you would like to dazzle us with?
One of them he either beat or lost to Punk in like 2009.
Yeah.
Which is pretty late.
Yeah. In what year did Regal become WWE Commissioner, and who was his comedic sidekick? So kind of 2 questions in one here.
That would have been like 01, right?
Correct. Why do you know these things? And his comedic sidekick?
Was it Tajiri?
It was Tajiri. I was going to say somebody already mentioned. Very good. Who did Regal defeat in a match to become commissioner?
That's weird. A match to become... I don't know. I don't know.
So it was another sort of hardcore guy, I guess, with a gimmick where he brought a prop with him always, and the crowd got really behind him. Al Snow. I should have said a lifetime feud with Mankind or Mick Foley. Regal won King of the Ring. What year?
2008.
Nope.
Wait, what? 9? 7?
7. So I don't know. Maybe you're right because sometimes
no, it was just before 8, so I guess that makes sense. I just assumed it was 2008.
In a feud with Regal, Chris Jericho disguised himself as which WWE superstar from the past? Think of like 80s. You'd be putting on makeup and a costume.
Goldust.
No, not similar, but like
blue dust,
face paint, and a wig. Doink.
Oh.
What other famous disgusting moment came from Regal's feud with Jericho? Regal involving some bodily fluids.
Wasn't something with piss?
Yeah.
I don't know.
And what's a standard British drink that Regal might have? Tea.
Oh.
Jericho peed in his tea. What unique match type was used for the match between Jericho and Regal at WrestleMania 17?
Was it like the Duchess of whatever thing?
Yes, Duchess of?
I don't know.
Queensberry match.
Oh, it's okay.
And do you remember how that worked?
Doesn't she keep changing the rules?
Yeah, so every time like Jericho should win, that's like, nope, the Queensberry rules state this sort of thing, like cheating Jericho out of winning multiple times. So Regal turned heel, joined the Alliance in 2001 by costing who a WCW championship match?
Rock?
No.
Angle.
Correct. So here's one you already answered, but Regal, WWE gave Regal an awful gimmick in his debut. What was it?
Real man's man.
It was so stupid. I remember like watching it live and going,
Well, and how does that fit him of all people?
right, you've just seen him as a blue blood forever, and now you're saying he's like,
Right.
yeah, and it didn't work at all.
It's weird.
Last one I know you'll get right. Regal was in a faction with 3 Canadians during his time with WWE. What was the name of the faction?
Un-Americans.
And who were the...
Test, Christian, and Lance Storm.
Correct.
It's weird that it's Un-Americans, but like only one of them was not Canadian. Like
Right.
I guess they're all Un-American, but it's weird that like it's like a mostly Canadian
I
faction.
thought so too. All right, so you did very well on that as expected, and we'll move back into talking about this week's wrestling action, where we sort of look at highlights and lowlights from the week in a segment that we call Highspots and Restholds. All right, so as usual for me, I have some NXT notes and some Impact Wrestling notes. Probably not as many as usual, especially for Impact.
Because there's just that main one.
And if stuff's middle of the road, I don't really talk about it, right? So, anyways, for NXT,
yeah, some things are hard to classify.
one of the high spots for me was the opening match. I thought it kind of over-delivered. I'm not saying it was like a classic or anything, but my expectations weren't high. And that was Roxanne Perez defeating Indy Hartwell with her Code Red finisher. Thought it was a pretty decent TV match.
I think that's such a bad finisher.
It's not great. So Indy was working a little bit more heel, maybe not entirely, because commentary seemed to be downplaying it a bit and just saying that she's looking more aggressive. So I don't know if they're going to go full heel or she's just a more aggressive performer. But regardless, decent 10-minute match. With Perez winning, it makes sense, right? She's the one getting more of the focus and heading into the Iron Survivor match, whereas Indy kind of seems to be a bit adrift without much going on since everyone abandoned her in NXT, right? So it's still nice to see
I
her.
saw Loomis showed up on a house show.
Oh, nice. It's nice to see Indy looking decent because I think she's okay. Like she's
Just
underused.
like, what's
so
her
far.
character though?
Exactly.
I remember seeing her enter once and it was like she had like no personality.
Well, now I think the character's supposed to be like, I don't need any friends. I don't want any friends because all my friends leave me. They need to sort of highlight that a little bit, but I think
I feel like
that's
you need something
where she's going.
on top of that, but
Yeah.
that's not bad start at least,
Yep.
I guess.
Another high spot, and this was a couple times throughout the show, was the selection committee for the Iron Survivor Challenge. So again,
Was it in threes?
I think there was 2 and then the announcement. So yeah, I guess 3, right?
Oh yeah.
So recurring segments. So you had HBK, X-Pac, Road Dogg, Alundra Blaze, and Molly Holly all sort of sitting around a table discussing candidates to go into these matches, right? So somebody would throw out a name. We'd get a little highlight package as they discussed them. So the first segment was discussing the men. I'm going to put them both in the same high spot here. The second was talking about women. And what I did like was that they even included discussion of some names who weren't going to be included in the match, so it felt a little more realistic instead of talking about all the people that do get in.
And then that's just it, right? Like
they would throw in the odd one that
so I
wasn't.
remember you were watching,
going
I
to be
saw
in
that
it.
they mentioned Wagner. I was like,
Exactly.
gross.
Right. So a little bit cheesy, but I actually thought most of the people involved in this were pretty effective. It sounded mostly natural and was something that would happen. So I thought it was a decent way to hype up these matches and also highlight like some of the talent that are in these matches on the roster as well. Some of the ones that aren't even in the match. So I kind of liked it. Then we get a high spot and a rest hold together because I thought Dijak looked good in his squash match here. Pretty devastating, defeating Dante Chen really quickly.
I think it's really lame that his name's just Dijak though. Like
yes, for me the promo afterwards like was not good. Again, the scripting. I don't think promos are Dijak's strength either. So he was talking about like hard justice, the infliction of suffering, and NXT is a place of refuge,
words.
And he's here to eviscerate. Like again, people don't talk like this, right? So he sounded a bit silly here. Kind of generic monster
his
heel
beard's
talk.
really dark. Or
in
like the goatee
WWE.
is.
I like his look better.
Yeah.
He again not a great delivery. So effective squash. I didn't like the promo after. High spot that I'm a little surprised by is the ongoing Duke Hudson and Chase U story. I kind of like. So this week, Duke Hudson stopped short of hitting Thea Hale with a boot outside the ring, and you could hear him on just a general microphone saying, "Don't worry, I can stop that at any time, right? Stop my boot at any time," which made Andre Chase start questioning things because last week Hudson accidentally hit him with the same boot when they were teammates. So now he's like, "What do you mean you can stop it at any time, right?" So I kind of like that, and it's just a little comedy faction that doesn't really win, but there's a little bit of an interesting angle here. This idea that Duke Hudson is not really as committed to chase you as he says he is, and
Right.
at the end of the day, he's a heel and he's going to cheat. So I thought it was kind of funny.
Mm-hmm.
High spot for me because I find her interesting, and the vignette itself was kind of cool. Lyra Valkyria, I think is pronouncing it correctly. So she had a little introductory vignette.
She's from like AOV Valkyrie or
Right,
something.
Aoife Valkyrie. So I thought they were going to keep it like show her from the back and not quite reveal, but they did actually have her face facing the camera at the end of this. So
At least they're reintroducing her, not like Isla Dawn, where it's like,
you
hey,
should know her, right? Like,
Yeah.
no, we don't. It's because most people don't. So I kind of found her interesting in UK. Hopefully she's kept developing and is even better. And it's a lot of her, like, it's a bird character. So the they started out with it subtitled, and I apologize, I don't even know what language she was speaking. So it sounded cool, subtitled. Then she switched to English. Lots of references to birds, as she's shown sort of running through a forest, because her whole gimmick was like a lot of bird stuff. She talks about she's shape shifted to a new form, and is ready for a new battleground. So I'm kind of interested to see what they do with her. I think she was kind of interesting, and if I remember correctly, decent in the ring. So hoping she's
I
better
honestly
now.
don't remember much about her. I just recognize the name.
Her
old name. Sorry.
Another high spot for me is Axiom in general. He's had a string of great matches. This week, he kind of pulled a pretty solid match out of big body Javier Bernal, who's like doing this super obnoxious heel and has kind of been challenging Axiom when Axiom's clearly not cleared to wrestle. So now he surprisingly
that's
is.
why that.
So it's
okay.
like a reluctant, hey, you've been wanting to wrestle me and now I'm cleared, right? So just his Axiom's finishing like one-legged drop kick to the face looks really impressive, and he's just super fun to watch. Despite having a ridiculous character and mask sort of going right now, he's really fun. Another high spot, talking about people meeting in different places. We had Braun Breaker interrupting Apollo Crews as he's in a diner eating breakfast and doing his writing in a journal and talking about his visions and premonitions. So they sort of downplayed that, which I prefer.
That's not bad.
So it's just Braun kind of sitting down and, like, you're not going to beat me, and Crews being like, yeah, I'm going to beat you. I thought Crews sounded
That's such a nice
summary.
recap.
Very, very, very much summarized.
Hey, you're not gonna beat me.
Yes,
I'm gonna beat you.
I'm gonna win, basically. So Apollo Crews, I thought, sounded really good here because he was talking less about his visions and premonitions and just talking like a normal human being.
Talking like someone who would actually talk like that.
And Braun, I thought, was okay. He's not super comfortable acting at this point, I don't think, when you're asking him to not just be himself. And I just thought it was a different way to have the champion and challenger sit down and talk before their match instead of doing like a contract signing or a sit-down interview or whatever.
Whoa,
this was
are
just
you dissing contract signings?
Yeah, sometimes, yes. This was just Braun knowing where this guy goes and meeting him there and talking to him, so I kind of liked it. Another high spot was JD McDonough taking on Julius Creed here. Really good TV match. I didn't like the finish. So it's a competitive match until JD goes to hit Julius with a chair, and Sangha, they're at ringside because they're feuding with the Creeds as well. They're going to face them soon. So Sangha pushes Julius out of the way and takes the chair shot, which then gets JD McDonough DQ'd. And Sangha messes up the only line, again, just being picked up by the ringside microphones. He was supposed to say, we don't want you at anything less than 100% for our match, and that's why he's saving the Creeds. But he said it, I can't remember the actual wording, but he actually said the opposite of what he was supposed to say here.
We don't want you at 100%.
Something like, I think that's what it was, yeah. But anyway, so JD McDonough's just a beast in the ring, and Julius Creed is really good too, so a pretty decent TV match. I did not really enjoy the finish. Then we get a pretty big rest hold for me, and that's Von Wagner taking on Malik Blade.
What?
So the story, it was that Vaughn ripped up Blade's sweater vest last week, which he wears in honor of his deceased father, and this was his father's vest. But the match wasn't good. I told you, I think there was a spot in the middle where Vaughn went for a big boot and kind of missed it. I don't even know if it was glancing blow. He might have missed altogether. And clearly Malik Blade wanted to redo that spot, but there was miscommunication and things got really clunky. It was like a knee to the midsection and then like just some awkwardness right in the middle of this.
Well, that is surprising.
Right? So Wagner won, obviously, with his, I still can't decide if it's a slam or suplex type of finisher thing. Big step back, because I actually praised Wagner in his match with Braun Breaker, right? So it's not like I'm completely anti-Von Wagner.
Oh, I am.
You are, for sure. But I thought this match was sloppy, and maybe neither of them are ready to carry the other to a match, you know what I mean? So it was kind of not great. Then moving into Impact, big rest hold to start this show, Bully Ray. So imagine you start out with a really lengthy Bully Ray promo,
Already good.
right? Saying respect for Josh Alexander, but I'm smarter than him, blah, blah, blah. Then a Bully Ray match against Rich Swann.
Right.
Then another Bully Ray promo after the match.
Oh, wow.
So no joke, because I checked. This Bully Ray was on the screen on Impact Wrestling for the first 29 minutes.
It's like
of
half
this
an
show.
hour, basically.
So it's 2022, I will remind you. And this is Bully Ray. So
Bordering
this
on 2023.
annoys me greatly, right? So it's basically like, because the whole thing was, is he still a heel? Is he
Right.
gonna turn? So he's like, nobody should have trusted me, but I'm smarter than everybody.
Right, because didn't he, like, do something? I don't remember, but didn't he, like, he's turned heel?
Yes. So he ends up losing to Swann by DQ because he uses a chair, continues the beatdown of Swann after the match. So Tommy Dreamer and Scott D'Amore come down. And in this one, like, D'Amore loses his cool and is basically wants to fight Bully Ray, and Dreamer's kind of trying to keep them away from each other here. Again, so it's 2022. Bully Ray, Tommy Dreamer, Scott D'Amore in like a headlining thing. Stop it. Like, no. So all of this time and effort going into Bully Ray could be invested into somebody to build them. Like, you want to build like a monster heel badass? Fine. Macklin, perfect candidate. Moose, if you want. Sammy Callahan. Existing people not like 15 years past their prime that
Right.
nobody really cares about. At least I sure don't, right? So I don't know why they feel the need to reach so far into the past and give a performer so past his prime all of this time and attention.
Mm-hmm.
He doesn't move the needle for me, and I don't know if he does for anyone else. But like for me, and I know people are probably getting tired of me saying it, put Macklin in this role. He's a guy I associate with Impact because he's completely different than he was in WWE. He's way better. He could do this monster heel really well, but they're deciding to go with Bully Ray, and it annoys me. And it was half an hour to start this show. As big a rest hold as I could say. High Spot was kind of a over-delivering TV match that was Bhupinder Gujar taking on Moose in this one. So it was the Battle of the Spears to finish. Moose avoided Gujar's gargoyle spear. Gujar leapfrogs Moose's first spear attempt, but then gets hit by the second one, and Moose wins. So Moose will now spin off into an angle with Joe Hendry, it looks like, because he sort of summoned him after the match by saying...
Because he said the word, say his name, which I think is stupid.
And it ended up with Hendry showing up, and Moose ends up taking the gargoyle spear from Gujar just to sort of balance things out. So I kind of like Gujar. He's got a cool look, and he's seems to be improving in the ring, so I liked it. Another high spot is the Mike Bailey interview. So I've decided I like his promo style because it's really weird, and at first I wasn't sure if I liked it. But he's got this really unique kind of calculated, really calm, because he's martial arts master, so it's kind of like he's zen.
Right.
And he's talking about, because Kenny King's obsessed right now with proving that Mike Bailey is not the person he says he is.
Right.
So he's basically like dismissive of this, and like Kenny King will not get under his skin and force him to change. It's kind of like he's so composed, he's not sweating Kenny King at all. And I kind of liked his promo here. And I like this simple feud build, even though I'm not a huge fan of Kenny King. This like, the King's obsessed now because Bailey's defeated him, right? With proving that Bailey's not the guy he thinks he is. So I like it.
At least he's not Honor No More.
Right.
Forgot Kenny King exists.
Resthold, which is something new for Impact, I think because I'm now getting it on TV. I don't know if we're getting like a free promo of the Fight Network or something, but
we're randomly though.
We're suddenly, sometimes they do it for a month. You get it for a month free, right? So we're in the midst of getting Impact on TV. I don't have to look for it online. So anyways, they have started scattering highlights of MMA stuff. I think it was like 3 times this show. Like only
actual?
Yeah. Like
why?
It's because it's Axis, whatever their network is, sort of trying to highlight and cross promote stuff, but it's annoying and I don't like it. And then the final high spot was, so the main event match was what's Mickey James calling her thing?
Last Rodeo.
Right.
They say it a million times. You should know this.
So she beat Purrazzo in a pretty good match. Nothing that I would say was a high spot. So, but after that, they saved time for a pretty lengthy segment with the write-off of Eric Young, where he's meeting with Diener in the same room they've used for Violent by Design a lot, where it's like almost like a cell with a table and a place to be sort of handcuffed in the middle of the table. So there's a knife, or almost like it looks like more like a shiv, like a prison-made shiv on the middle of the table that we keep getting flashed to. We also see little flashes of both men kind of looking at it, and it's about Young basically asking Diener, "Are you willing to do anything to get rid of the sickness?" Right, and Diener's like, "Of course I am. Yes, I am." And Young's like, "What if the sickness was in the room with you? Would you be prepared to do what you needed to do to get rid of it?" And Diener's sort of confused a bit, but is like, "Yes." They start brawling with each other. Diener ends up like in a mount position on Eric Young. Eric Young's bleeding and basically saying like, "Do what you're supposed to do. I'm the designer, but you are the design." And Diener picks up the knife and murders, like literally stabs Eric Young to death. You don't actually see him, but you see him like thrusting the knife downward, right? So Eric Young
Doesn't make it sound any better.
Eric Young has been murdered. I actually thought it was kind of cool. It was pretty dramatic, and it's a very final way of getting a guy off of your show, I guess, right? So I thought it
Good as
kind of
final as you can do.
and it also clearly defines Diener as the leader of the faction, which I don't think he's ready for. He was perfect in his role.
Isn't Alan Angels?
He was perfect in his role as the second in command, and maybe he'll rise to the occasion, but they had to do something, I guess, because Young is done. So this was a definitive, like, you're done. You have been actually murdered. So anyway, sorry. I usually let you in between, but I sort of just kept rolling. So what did you pull from main roster this week?
Yeah, it's just main roster. So I had one high spot, which was that there was like that segment with Owens and Zayn and the Usos, which was pretty solid.
Yeah, I like that. I saw
now
that.
both Usos are kind of on Sammy's side, and so then I thought Owens was really good too, because he's just like done with.
Owens is great. Yeah,
he's just done with Sammy now.
Yep.
So
right, that was the last straw. Like you've in a match where I really needed you, and I could have gotten seriously hurt. Whatever, you abandoned me and helped them. So yeah, it's done.
Right. And then, so that was pretty good. And then Resthold was Loomis versus Miz. From what I saw, it was boring. And then Loomis got a contract because he won. So we're really going to act like this whole time he's just been some guy getting access to backstage to terrorize Miz. Apparently, Miz was paying him so that he could stay relevant. But I mean, does that even make it better?
Maybe he's in cahoots with scripts, and that's how he gets in all the time.
He's in cahoots with Miz.
Yeah, that too.
So
awesome.
Yeah. And then the last one was a slight high spot with Ricochet winning the World Cup. Like, that's fine. I wish it was Escobar, but I guess with them, the winner facing Gunther doesn't make much sense.
It's nice to see Ricochet getting some love, right?
Right, that's kind of what the high spot was. Like, it's nice as prominence for him, but
yeah,
he's also the one who lost the title to Gunther, so I can't say I'm that interested in him getting a match, but it should be good again.
Speculation is he's getting the title from this.
I think that's dumb.
I do too. I think Walter should just roll.
Well, and if you're going to have him lose, I think someone else should get it. I think Ricochet had his shot. And I'm not saying it was like the greatest run ever, but like he had a run this year, so I think we can.
And what I'd like to say is if Walter loses, he should move into the main event picture, but how?
Right.
That's the only problem with Reigns being so strong.
It's so unattainable right now.
It's really, really hard, especially a heel, obviously.
Until someone else kind of takes it.
But even when Cody comes back, I'm not sure how because I think that's the guy, but I don't know how you get there. Right? Like, and I don't have a ton of faith that they're smart enough and creative enough to put something there that's interesting.
Maybe Triple H can. I don't know.
Because they've done such an amazing job with the bloodline, but they just seem like so many
tiers
above.
But you also kind of have to have an end game there, right? Which I'm not. I've never been sure of their end game.
Me either.
You know?
But I guess we'll see.
Yeah.
All right. Well, that's going to bring us to our final segment, which apparently is going to be pretty lengthy this week. That's where Jack's going to give us an update on the world of wrestling action figures in the segment called Figuring It Out with Jack. All right, talk about figures. Do it.
So yeah, they revealed a lot of crap at Hogan's Beat Shop.
Yep.
So
great.
We should go there sometime.
Nope. I will not support that man.
I want to go.
I tend to not support racists very much if I can help it. But that's just me.
That's weird.
Just me, right?
Yeah, that's kind of weird.
Bigotry's not my favorite look.
That's weird.
Yeah, right? What a
I'm a huge
What a controversial opinion
to
have.
I'm super into that. So so yeah, they revealed a bunch of crap, so let's
do
that.
Yep.
So I'm just going from like the latest to from that day all the way down. So the one thing that they have is the new Usos, so the new Elite Usos. I think they'll be in separate waves. I think one of them is going to be in the SummerSlam wave with the Build-A-Figure that I'll talk about later, and then one of them will be in another waves, and they're both in their SummerSlam look from last year. It's like black joggers with Bloodline logos, and then Jay has like a white arm sleeve and Jimmy has a black arm sleeve. So I know from the waist up, they're re-releases of their respective last Elites, which would be 90, 95.
Right.
And it just Jay has slightly different hair, but then they have the black jogger, so that's cool because at least now there's matching Usos, so I'll probably pick those up when they come around in like a while.
Yeah.
So those are cool. The white tee is a little weird because they're all wearing all black, but other than that, those are good. I like them. There's a new Ultimate Edition Rock, which is the same as his last one, like from the main line. Or sorry, no, the Series 6, not the last one, but the Series 6. It's just now it's got butterfly joints, so it's a Target exclusive, I think. So I think it'll be like a Legends one, which I mean that's fine. I don't really care about that.
Yeah, because those pork chop sideburns, he didn't always. That puts him in a certain era.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They showed the Ruthless Aggression Elites again, but that was last week. New Sonya Deville Elite 101, so that looks pretty cool. Looks like kind of a current look.
Yep.
She hasn't had an Elite since Elite 69.
Nice.
Which was one of the collector's edition ones. Her and Liv Morgan. They showed that WCW Hogan again, which isn't new, but there
Gross.
it is. So okay, so here
Do not buy.
Then there's a SummerSlam 2023 Elite of
Hogan.
Hulk Hogan. From the Desert Storm match against Sergeant Slaughter, like some obscure thing. Anyways, it's Camel Hulk Hogan.
Cool.
Nah.
With an American bandana, obviously.
Of course. Second most patriotic wrestler, obviously, other than Cody Rhodes. Of course.
Right.
I'm pretty sure Cody Rhodes is actually Mr. America. Speaking of Mr. America, here's Elite 101.
So many Hulk
Mr.
Hogans.
America.
Why?
And then it gets better because there's a Chase variant. So there's two Mr. Americas.
Amazing.
One of them, so they both
with no mask.
Yeah. Well, it has like the mask on his head, like pulled up.
Right.
So I think both of them will have two head scans. One of them's masked, one of them's not. And I think that the unmasked, like the pull up mask is separate.
Great.
Looks like, like a separate piece.
Yeah.
And so the one of them has the boa and the shirt on, and so the tights are a little different. So I think they'll both come with the same accessories and blah 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 blah. Then we have Elite 100. We have the Rock. So I can't tell what his trunks look like, but he's got like the blue Rock jersey, and they had like that Top Picks Elite a little while ago that had the red jersey. So this one's got blue. It comes with the Brahma Bull title, which I think looks really nice, actually. Like the one that they made but they never used.
Right.
So that's cool. It's a first time belt as well. Then we have WCW Rey Mysterio for Elite 100 in like the pink and yellow. I think that looks really cool. Then people say it's a reused head scan, but I can tell from the mask because you see like it goes down past his nose. Like that's definitely like it's more accurate to the time.
Yep.
And he's got the WCW Cruiserweight title, another first time belt. Then Elite 100 John Cena. It's like chain gang stuff. He's got the chain, the hat, the armbands and stuff. And he's got the W title, that spinner one, and it looks like it actually spins this time. Like, because I have that rated R spinner belt, and that one actually spins. And so it's got like a separate plate in there, obviously. And I don't know, this one, like, to me, it looks like there's that separate plate in there. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it does.
So maybe it'll spin. And then they're Stunning Steve Austin. Oh my God, it's Stunning Steve Austin. I didn't notice he's got the ponytail. That's new.
Oh yeah, nice.
Nice. He's got like multicolored trunks, got a red robe, and the WCW/NWA TV title. Because it's like the old TV title with the red strap, and it's the one that the NWA actually currently uses. So that's kind of funny.
Mm-hmm.
And guess what? Another first time belt.
Nice.
And
which
then
you're gonna want.
And then all white Becky Lynch from something. SmackDown was title. The faceplate of the title looks redone. I don't like her head scan, but the rest of it's nice. The jacket's cloth, so that's cool.
Mm-hmm.
And there's Elite 100 Andre the Giant, and he's got two variants. There's like the teal jacket and the gray jacket, and they both have like like the big Andre 87 belt that they never used.
Yep.
He comes with that.
Cool.
First time belt.
First time belt edition.
That belt I actually kind of like, so I might get the Andre in the suit just because that belt's pretty nice. And then you got Ricochet in the black and yellow with also the flames on it from day one, which that's when he first wore that with the and he's got the Intercontinental title because he also wore it when he won the title, I think. And so I couldn't remember when he first wore it, but I remember it was on the day one pre-show. That's why, why would I remember a pre-show attire? Unless it's Seth Rollins. And also he was teaming with Cesaro, which is pretty funny.
Yeah.
Because he's not there anymore.
That is very true.
That is why that is funny. In case you were wondering, that is the reason it is funny. Next, what does we got? More Elite 101. I'm getting to triple digis now.
Nice.
It's absurd. We got Cody Rhodes, and I think it's the Cody Rhodes that I just got. It's the same attire as the AEW Cody I just got. Just it doesn't have the America boots.
I was gonna say, why does he have the belt on backwards? But it's his weight belt, I guess.
Yeah, it's the weight belt. So that's cool. It's funny. I think the one guy noticed that the neck tattoo, they put a bit of it on the jaw there, which would make sense if it was like a statue thing, right? Because the head's gonna move, it'll look weird.
Yeah.
And then there's Elite 101 Kevin Owens, which I showed you has like the bald cap look with the Austin
Yeah,
imitation.
it's strange.
But he'll have another head, which is normal, so
Okay.
at least there's that. And hopefully he's got a normal shirt underneath too. And there's Johnny Knoxville with the giant mouse trap and also new Sami Zayn prototype.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, apparently they were gonna include the giant hand, but that wouldn't fit. So that's nice.
From my favorite match, might come up at the end of the year.
New basics for Toxic Attraction and Aaliyah, not good.
Aaliyah's back from injury, didn't put it in the news.
New Roman Reigns basic with painted on needle mover shirt, that's fine. Basic, not good. Commander Aziz shown, which is useful now because Cruz is definitely still doing that gimmick.
100%.
Oh wait. Then we have retro 2-packs. It's some tag team packs, which is NWO stuff. So I think it's like a box with like you get 2-packs. You have Outsiders and you have your boy Hogan and Six.
My boy Hogan. I don't even like that being said as a joke. Okay, not my boy.
Oh,
although I guess if I'm cutting out bigots and stuff from wrestling, there's going to be a long list of people that I have to not pay attention to.
I think my friend was saying Raquel. No, I mean maybe not.
Rhea Ripley,
or something
I think.
something about Raquel.
Yep, there's a bunch, unfortunately.
So then SummerSlam will lead Ziggler in the pink tights from when he got destroyed by Goldberg. I actually like that. It's got the ponytail.
He did get destroyed by Goldberg.
I like that gear though. The pink is nice. SummerSlam Elite Zeus.
Amazing.
Basically just an Elite version of the Ultimate we got from the San Diego Comic-Con. And then the build-a-figure for the SummerSlam Elites is going to be... Don't worry, it's not a child this time.
Hulk Hogan. Some form of Hulk Hogan.
It's Mr. Perfect.
Oh, nice.
In the suit. Like, I guess, probably... I think it was like when he was affiliated with Flair and Heenan. I think that. When he was the something consultant or whatever, the special consultant or something, some whatever lingo. Then there's Ultimate Cody Rhodes. They previewed the Mattel Creations one. It's a prototype, so the body's in gray, but they at least have the head scan, which I think looks really good. And the jacket's all cloth, which looks really nice. It looks a lot similar to the Cody I got, where it's got like the interchangeable arm jacket, but this is like the cloth, which I'm not sure which I like better. I think there's a merit to both, but I think it's nice. Ultimate AJ Styles, Ultimate 16, got the cloth shirt, and his hood is cloth, which is interesting. But
cool.
And I think it's the white and blue, which is really nice look. And then the Seth Rollins Ultimate prototype. Yeah. In 4 days, they revealed 2 Seth Rollins.
You're big Seth Rollins guy right now.
Well,
usually, but now I feel like it's elevated a little.
Dean Ambrose doesn't exist anymore.
That is true.
So, so apparently it'll be based on his Money in the Bank gear from this year, with like the neon lines, that one.
Yes.
And so it's got a new crotch sculpt and the head scan. Like it's unpainted because obviously this is a prototype, but I think you can just tell from like the sculpt. I think it looks great. Like I don't know, just looks like it's a new longer hair.
Right.
Rollins like more. It's probably like the most current Rollins we'll be getting. So that's really nice. And they used the Rick Rude torso, which I don't know, it looks really accurate to me for some reason. And then from the same series, we'll be getting Andre the Giant, so there's a prototype for that, but it looks really weird. He looks like a giant monkey because his arms are brown.
It does look very strange.
Yeah, the prototypes are always weird, but I mean, it's nice to get an early look, I guess. I don't know.
I guess.
Then there's the Ultimate 16 Razor Ramon, which will be in the same series as AJ Styles. For some reason, he's got a chase. So you got the standard version, which is the yellow and black and orange, which I think is from Mania 10, the ladder match with Michaels, and the chase variant in purple, which I think is pretty nice. Or blue if you're you.
Looks cool.
And do you see the purple or is it blue?
It could be either. You convinced me of either one.
That one's purple. Or do you know which one it is, or do you know if it's purple or blue?
What? So what's purple and what's blue?
No, it's just purple.
Oh, it's all purple?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Does it look like purple?
I guess. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know colors, man.
Yeah, that's just interesting.
Yeah.
Oh, that's it.
All right, that's it? So I was expecting longer than that.
Well, me too. I typed.
Although I was getting work done while you were doing it, so it flew by.
I did type a lot.
Well, that's going to bring us to the end of episode 124, I guess. And there's nothing major happening this week in the world of wrestling, right? That we would... Seems like we just do Saturdays anyways. We don't really do any bonus episodes anymore. But if people contact us and say do a bonus episode, it will definitely motivate us to do one. So if you'd like to hear a bonus episode, contact us, throw out an idea for one. Could be anything, really. We don't really care. We can find time, especially we've got a couple weeks off coming up over the holiday break. So if anyone has a special request for a bonus episode, we would definitely take it into consideration. But that being said, we are going to head out, I think, and get our day rolling. So thanks for hanging out with us for any amount of time to listen to us talk about wrestling. It is always really appreciated. And we will be back here close to the same time, definitely the same place,
Yes.
a week from today for episode 125. So until then, everybody, take care.